Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff.
Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next?
Ballroom dancing.
I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
Tim Donnelly here for my friends at Zero Res. And if you're like me, you love to DIY, right? Do it yourself, save the money. I can tell you from experience, they Zero Resified my house, and you can't get it this clean by yourself with the carpet soaking machines or anything else you can rent. Go ahead, give them a call now, 919-995-0000, and ask for the station special. That's the $99.9, the fan special. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $109 and get a free hallway done on top of that.
If you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my friends.
For my community.
For everyone here. We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies us. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
This is the Adam Gold Show.
What are we talking about 3 weeks from today in Charlotte?
Florida State, Florida State, Florida State. On the field, Florida State. Off the field, Florida State. College football playoff, Florida State. Can we relitigate what happened in December? Florida State. I mean, but back in the day, what did we say? Talking about Knowles,
right?
You know, and it's
gosh, they love it.
It makes me uncomfortable thinking that the commissioner and Florida State are both on day one.
It's the Adam Gold Show. How are you? I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's here. The voice of Chip Patterson. We'll speak with Chip tomorrow, as we do every Wednesday. We are, Yesterday was 2 weeks from the Commissioners Forum in Charlotte, ACC football kickoff.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we are 2 weeks out from actually being there doing live shows. We'll be there Wednesday and Thursday, 2 weeks from now, as it gives us a reason to talk college football. College football might come up today. I don't know. I do know that they are meeting in Utah today to discuss how, not if, how to expand the NCAA men's basketball tournament. It's been talked about. We've talked about it. It's been written about. We don't write, so we can't write about it. It's going to happen. I'm not saying it should happen. It's going to happen. Why? They think they can make more money at it. If you don't believe that if they think they can make more money at something, therefore they're going to do it, then you have not been following college sports. You just haven't. We talked about this with Pat Forty yesterday about the non-revenue sports. And I have a conversation to have with everybody about prize money versus NIL and why it's really the same thing. If the NCAA could have opened their brains to the possibility that allowing athletes to realize their own value in the marketplace. This is before They lost all these lawsuits, and now they're going to have to start directly paying them. And they will eventually be declared employees. This is not like this could happen. It's going to happen. If the NCAA, if we go back, 10 years, if they had recognized that, let's let them realize their value in the marketplace. I wonder what percentage of players who were risking essentially their careers by turning pro earlier than they should have, because they thought they might be a first-round pick. I wonder how many of them would have stuck around. Now, that's just the revenue sports. Think about the familiarity. Why do people rail against today's college sports? Oh, we don't know these players, especially basketball. We don't know these players. They're only here for a year. They go right to the NBA. Blah, blah, blah. We don't know who they are. Well, there's something to that. That's not an incorrect statement. We don't get a chance to know these players. Hey, Duke fans, it wouldn't be you have to be really, really dialed in to be able to run down the starting five for the last, say, 5 or 6 years. Because, they all blend together because they're all gone. They come here for play a year, go. Play a year, go. We don't have too much repeat. So I wonder because if we bring that to the non-revs, how much more interesting, and I'll give a real-life example, but how much more interesting would it be to see, and Pat Forty brought Katie Ledecky, swam 2 years at Stanford while she was crushing the Olympics, and then because she had to make a choice between staying at Stanford and not getting anything, or taking Speedo, Nike, Milk, whatever it was, whatever the endorsements were, and making, $8 million, but she could no longer swim at Stanford. Michael Phelps, who went to Michigan, never swam for the Wolverines, which is silly. How much more interesting would college sports have been at the non-rev level if we allowed these famous star athletes? Michelle Wie lived on campus at Stanford, but could not play for the Cardinal. She had a roommate in a dorm, but she couldn't play college golf. It makes no sense. None at all. If they had realized then, how much more value would there have been in just college sports, the exposure that these college athletes could have gotten at that level. Anyway, so we're going to get into that conversation later, because it's always been silly for people who have been listening to me talk about this. I've been saying it for a decade and a half. I've been talking about athletes should be getting money in some way, and the methods have evolved over time. I think when I first started talking about it, it was, why can't agents simply lend athletes money against future pro earnings? People don't want to lose money. Will they give out bad money to secure clients down the road? Probably. That's on them. They want to do that. But we're going to get there. We'll get there eventually, but we'll have that conversation a little bit today. We are going to talk about the business of sports with Andrew Brandt coming up at 1 o'clock. If you follow Andrew Brandt on Twitter, you know he's a former executive with the Packers. He's been with ESPN, Sports Illustrated, teaches at Villanova. He is famous for the Twitter blurb, "There will be lawyers."
Nice.
So we'll talk about the Sunday ticket courtroom loss by the NFL, which I think is fascinating. Anybody that has ever had Sunday ticket, you have overpaid for it every year you've gotten it by a lot, and you might be getting money back.
Ooh.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while, but you might be getting money back.
Through snail mail, too?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Gonna say.
And they'll probably give it back to you in like $5 increments over a 15-year period. But you are going to get, well, I shouldn't say you are going. You could get money back.
Nice.
So we'll talk to Andrew Brandt about those matters. We got a lot to talk about. Right now, going on, Keegan Bradley is having a press conference to be introduced as the Ryder Cup captain. At the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to Bob Harrig of Sports Illustrated, who broke the news yesterday as a point of fact, I guess. We recorded that interview right before the show so he could be present for this press conference. But we'll talk about Keegan Bradley's, I guess, essential. 38 years old. I'll mention it here in the opening of the program. Let's go. Like I didn't already do 7 minutes of the show. We're starting now. See, that
okay.
open.
It was a warm up.
So
it's a warm up.
I have a question. Since I generally don't listen to the best of or watch because I've done it. I've seen it.
Yeah,
right?
You're in it.
I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to see how I look on TV. Does anything before, if we ever put it up, does anything before Let's Get Started ever get onto the best of or on YouTube?
Yeah, I put that up there too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that first 6 minutes or 7 minutes, that's up there?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why not?
All right, let's start. Have we started with hurricane stuff almost every day?
Well,
for
we
like
should
the
just
last
keep
3
the
weeks?
trend going.
Let's do it. So there's no new news except I was perusing ESPN yesterday. And ESPN put out their post-July 1st free agency, blah, 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 power rankings. And I was looking and I'm like, oh, man, this is going to be ugly, right? We all know what happened to the Hurricanes roster.
Mm-hmm.
So I was prepared for a long scroll
Yeah.
before I got to the Hurricane. I mean, it wasn't going to be at the bottom,
No.
right? But I figured we'd see somewhere in the teens.
Vegas is not going to make us favorites this year.
For the Hurricane. No, probably not. And ESPN is not going to make Carolina favorites either to an extent. Florida won. Not a surprise, right? They retained a lot, not all, of their free agents after winning the Stanley Cup. Edmonton, too.
Yeah.
Still have Connor McDavid.
Makes sense.
Added Jeff Skinner on a bargain deal after he was bought out by Buffalo. I'm not sure Jeff Skinner is a put-you-over-the-top type of guy, but whatever. Dallas 3, who Dallas was the best team in the West. Certainly didn't hurt themselves in the offseason. Rangers 4, still have Igor Shesterkin. Although we have Jack Roslovic now.
Oh, we do. Yeah, they're doomed.
Avalanche 5. Okay. Hurricanes 6.
Wow. We're behind the Avs?
What?
That's optimistic.
That's what I said. I'm like, what? Wait a second. 6th? So let me read just a paragraph. Let me read what ESPN had to say about the Hurricanes. Perhaps the most consequential moves this offseason happened in management positions. Eric Tulsky took over as GM. Head coach Rod Brindamore was signed to a new contract. At least that's the type of stability on which fans should hang their hats. Many on-ice personnel changes took place as well, including the loss of 2 key defensemen in Brett Pesce and Brady Shea. That's it. That's all they say. Nothing about Jake Gensel, Teuvo Teravainen, Steph Nason. Nothing about that, which is fine, right? That's fairly optimistic. Boston 7, which I don't really get.
Ooh. Boston 7?
I don't think Boston's all that great.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I really don't.
No.
And when I was thinking about it, this is what happens when you have set a year in, year out standard of performance. So it has been since the 2018-19 season, Rod Brindamore's first. The Hurricanes have been in the playoffs every year. Only in the first 2 seasons was Carolina, during the regular season, not among the very best teams in the sport. They had the first wild card in the first year. They were trending to be They might have been in the top 3 in the Metro. They were finally starting to play well. It was after the trade to bring Brady Shea and Vincent Trocheck in. They were starting to gain some traction. And then, of course, the season shut down because of COVID. It resumed to bubble hockey, and the Hurricanes were in a wild card spot. So, if we take those first 2 seasons and say they were wild card teams those 2 years, every year since, they've been a division winner, division winner, division winner, 3 points short of the best record in hockey in the 4th year. So they have been at the top. Look at where they have drafted in each of these 4 seasons, the following draft. So this is the standard of performance that they have set, and that everybody around the league has just assumed. Now, do I think the Hurricanes are the 6th best team in the NHL and 3rd best team in the East? No, I don't. I really think that they are closer to where I thought they would be, somewhere in the 12-13 range, right?
Right.
Somewhere in there. Because I think
they're going to stink, but not that high up.
Objectively speaking, they don't have the same roster.
No.
They don't have as good a roster as they had a year ago.
Big players, too.
4 players off their power play are gone. Yes, Shane Gostisbehere will slot into the power play, so it's a net -3 when you know that Gensel, Nason, and Teravainen are gone. And Corey Lavalette did point out, look, for all but 2 months, they didn't have Jake Gensel last year. Fair point, but Michael Bunting was part of that too.
Yeah.
So it's still a -3 of the team. But as I've said before, go back and look at the team, the roster, that made the playoffs in year 1. I don't know how this team stacks up. Remember, that team had a Jordan Staal 6 years younger.
Yeah.
Okay? It's fair to point that out. 6 years younger Jordan Staal, different
Makes a
from
difference.
30, almost 35-year-old Jordan Staal, right? But ultimately, the head coach knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I will talk directly to the camera here. The head coach has a repeatable style, a style that is conducive to winning games because game in, game out, the Hurricanes play in a high-pressure, defensive-minded, turn-you-over, forechecking way that in an 82-game season is going to produce wins and points. It's just going to. That's not saying they're going to be top 3 in the Metropolitan Division or pushing for the top, but I think they'll be right in the mix. And I said this before, Aho, Jarvis, Svechnikov must be great. Natchez, or the replacement for Natchez, gives them 4 big bats in the middle of their lineup, and they have an opportunity to be very good again. But it's going to come down to, I think, Andre, and it's going to come down to goaltending.
Yeah. A lot of hope and wishing.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
ESPN, though, loves them some Carolina Hurricanes.
They do. They must love black and red.
Except on TV.
I'm a fan. I know, right? Yeah.
Whatever. USA basketball getting ready for the Olympics. They're out in Las Vegas, where I believe it was 114 yesterday.
Only 114?
I have no idea. I made it up, but it's been triple digits for a lot.
Yeah.
In Vegas lately. Remember, Corey was out there for the draft.
Yeah. First thing he said.
I mean,
it's hot.
Yeah. Did you see what the temperature was in Death Valley over the weekend?
I did not.
128.
What? That should be illegal.
Degrees. 128 degrees. Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
It's literally, you could cook on the sidewalk.
Keep it's only dry heat. Dry heat's still hot.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So there was a scrimmage yesterday. USA Olympic squad took on the USA Select team, which is a group of young NBA players with one lone college kid thrown in. That college kid is Duke incoming star Cooper Flagg. And, eyes were opened. Here's ESPN basketball expert Tim Bontemps.
Tim, what are people saying about Duke commit Cooper Flagg? Well, this is a pretty remarkable story, Kevin. You've got Cooper Flagg, who is 17 years old. He doesn't turn 18 until December. And when he was born in 2006, in December 2006, Kevin Durant was in his freshman year at Texas, and LeBron James was in his 4th NBA season. And he was out here in this scrimmage with the select team, going toe-to-toe with those guys, and really dominated the final portions of that scrimmage. I saw our PJ Carlissimo afterward, and he was joking with Matt Painter, one of the select team coaches, that Painter doesn't have Duke on the schedule and will not have them on the schedule now after seeing Cooper Flagg in this game. And I asked Tatum about the way Cooper Flagg played and going to, as you said, his alma mater in Duke. And he said that he looked every bit the part of a guy who fit being out here on the court, despite the fact he's the first college player to be part of the select team since Doug McDermott and Marcus Smart back in 2013. And those guys were already well into their college careers when they were here playing against Team USA. Cooper Flagg hasn't even played in a college basketball game yet. And that's why the executive on hand here wanted to see him play, because he right now is projected by our Jonathan Gavoni as the number 1 pick in next year's NBA draft.
Here's the thing. I read a lot about the scrimmage yesterday. I saw stories on it on SportsCenter. I have no idea if anybody scored a point for the Olympic team. So all they were talking about was Cooper. I mean, seriously, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, the Olympic team won. Apparently, they kept scoring the game, and they won 74-73. I think Flagg had like 16 points or something. I don't know what it was. And there's a lot of guys out there, and I'm not saying he was the best player. But this is the story coming out of the scrimmage from yesterday. So, he's got a good shot. He can handle. He can pass. I have no idea if he's a good defender or not. Brian Geisinger has spoken glowingly about his all-around game. We've talked to Brian about this. But that was the story coming out of yesterday's scrimmage. By the way, something that I just found out. Steph Curry has never been an Olympian?
Really?
Wait, what?
That's weird.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed that.
So, and I think Brian kind of casually mentioned this yesterday after scolding the Charlotte Hornets.
Right.
But, yeah, that's ludicrous to me that he's not been an Olympian before.
Yeah.
LeBron, this is, I think, his 4th Olympic team, right?
Well, makes sense, I guess.
The team in 04? Yeah, I think he was a second-year player on the 04 team, but he was kind of a reserve, I think. But 08 and 12, I believe he was on that team, and now for the 4th time. All right, and again, Flagg is just 17. Some of the things that Tim Bontemps talked about. The last time we had college players on that team, it was Doug McDermott and Marcus Smart. McDermott had played like 100-some-odd college games to that point, and Smart was the reigning Big 12 Player of the Year. Not only has Cooper Flagg not played a minute of college basketball yet, but he won't be 18 until mid-December.
That's just crazy to think.
So,
what kind of career is he going to have? Whew.
A short one at Duke.
Yeah, exactly.
that's what kind of career he's going to have.
No amount of NIL money's keeping him there.
Oh, my gosh, no. Jared McCain had a great Summer League debut last night. 16 points, bunch of other crooked numbers on the stat sheet. This, of course, gave people more reason to knock Bronny James for just scoring 4 points. Everybody runs their own race, people. Here's McCain on what Duke did to prepare him for the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in my game is very mature. I feel like I think the game very well. My IQ's for the next level. So I think just being at Duke, being on the biggest platform in college basketball, the best program in college basketball, it was just cool to learn from Coach Shire, learn from my vets. I think that's prepared me the whole time for especially Philly.
I think he's going to be a very, very good pro. I mean, he's a shooting guard, and he's only 6'3", so there's a physical challenge there. But he's going to be a very – he might end up being, over the course of his career, he might not necessarily be somebody who plays 35 to 40 minutes a game. He might ultimately end up as a really good, guy coming off your bench to maybe score 10, 12 points in a quarter. But I think he's going to be a good pro for a long time. All right, so I mentioned yesterday, we're going to talk to Bob Herrig about this in just a few minutes. Keegan Bradley was named the U.S. Ryder Cup captain. yesterday. 38 years old. For anybody who watches that PGA Tour, that golf show on Netflix, actually, I'm at a loss for the name of that show now. But it's a very good, very well done Netflix show, very much in the line of what they did with Formula One. They spent a fair amount of time talking about the Ryder Cup selection process, and Bradley, who has played in two, desperately wanted to be on the show, on the team, and was ultimately not selected. Well, yesterday it was revealed he's going to be the captain. Golf Unfiltered. We've had Adam Fonseca as one of the stars of Golf Unfiltered. They have a podcast, and they were talking about one of the benefits of Keegan Bradley as the captain.
I feel like Keegan wouldn't be as hesitant to add live guys to the team. Like he's not in that old school circle that we've been talking about where maybe they're upset that these guys went to, like, he's got to make a spot for Bryce and he's got to make a spot for Brooks, whereas maybe that was a question in forming the team 2 years ago.
All right. Well, the team was last year. First of all, we have no idea how Keegan Bradley is going to view live versus the PGA Tour. But I would point this out. The only player who was playing on the live tour last year, the only player who had to be on the team was Brooks Koepka, and he was on the team. He also needed to be selected because at the end, he wasn't in the final top six. So he had to be selected for the team, and he was selected for the team. Bryson DeChambeau was okay. He didn't have to be on the team. Dustin Johnson, whom I would have picked were I the captain, were I Zach Johnson, wasn't playing well enough to make that really even a difficult decision for Zach Johnson. He never really considered Dustin Johnson. But there was nobody else who was eligible for the U.S. team playing on live that was playing well enough that, well, this guy has to be on the team. Just nobody. 14 months out, we can all assume that Bryson DeChambeau will be on the team right now, but it is 14 months out. Brooks Koepka, more than likely, will be on the team, but again, we're 14 months out. There's nobody else that is like beating us over the head, you have to be on that team. I think if you're eligible, I said this last year, if you're eligible and you're one of the 12 best U.S. players, you'll be on the team. Frankly, we got to win. It's stupid to not take your best players. You have to win. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk about this a little bit, but we'll talk about the selection of of Keegan Bradley, but more so, who wasn't picked? Who didn't become the Ryder Cup captain, and why? Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard. You look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Where'd y'all go last week?
Well, we've been watching our budget.
So no going out?
Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's Salt and Lime Brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharkies?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharkies is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the mix, then Sharkies. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the mix, then Sharkies. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharkies. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. All the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Monster Jam. Massive stunts. All-out racing. Crazy skills. Monster Jam. As big as it gets. The fun begins at the pit party, where you can meet the drivers, get autographs, take pictures, and see the trucks up close. Get your $20 pit party pass at monsterjam.com today. Must have valid event ticket to enter pit party. Restrictions may apply. Rules and activities are subject to change. Visit website for event details. Coming to PNC Arena July 27th and 28th.
Have you heard of plantar fasciitis? Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton with the Good Feet Store. Imagine jumping off the back of a pickup truck onto some rocks. That's what it felt like when I was suffering from plantar fasciitis. After searching and trying so many other products, I finally found relief with Good Feet Arch Supports, and they still keep me running today. Now I get to help others who are struggling with plantar fasciitis to live their life pain-free. Here's another customer sharing their Good Feet story.
Plantar fasciitis feels like pointed, sharp pain. It just hurts all the time. It feels like your foot is squeezing on itself. When I drove past the Good Feet store, I thought, I'm just gonna stop in. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support that were personally fitted just for me. Then it was like, okay, this is something special. These make a difference.
The Good Feet store is in Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Fayetteville, and other locations across North Carolina. Visit goodfeet.com to book your appointment today, or just stop by the store nearest you.
This is Pre-Tection. Yep, Pre-Tection. The everyday skin protection ritual that protects your skin from mosquitoes. Pre-barbecue. Pre-playground. Pre-everything. Pre-every day. Prevention is the best protection. This summer, make sure you have OFF, the #1 dermatologist-recommended repellent brand. SC Johnson, a family company.
This is Adam Gold.
Subway Series, Game 2. Mets, Yankees should be fun. Good luck to the Yankees, not at all. The Mets are underdogs at home, plus 110. No respect at all for the team that is playing the best baseball in the month of June.
How McRude.
The Adam Gold Show.
Bob Harrick covers golf for Sports Illustrated. He is a multiple author. We'll run through all the books in a little bit. But yesterday, I was, frankly, stunned to hear that Keegan Bradley was named at the age of, 38, the captain of the next Ryder Cup team that will play at Bethpage on Long Island. Bob Harrick joins us. You were the person who broke the news, sir. Congratulations on that. And quickly, your thoughts on Keegan Bradley, who I know we're recording this before the show. There'll be a press conference right about noon to formally announce him. But your thoughts on Keegan Bradley as the, I think, surprise captain of the U.S. side?
No question it's a surprise. I mean, as I was hearing about it myself, there was nobody that was on that idea. Like, it wasn't speculated about. He wasn't one of the names. You know, you obviously we had all thought that Tiger was his if he wanted it, but if it wasn't Tiger, who was out there? And, you know, there was a bunch of names thrown around, Stuart Sink and Fred Couples and, you know, maybe David Duval or past captain like Steve Stricker, or, you know, nobody was talking about Keegan Bradley. I mean, it wasn't on anybody's radar. When I first heard about it, actually I heard about it briefly last week and I dismissed it. I just didn't think there was anything to it. First of all, we hadn't been officially told that Tiger was out.
Right.
I thought that might be the case. But this is like a seismic shift from the way they've been doing it for the past decade, where you nurtured guys along.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been so much chatter about the Ryder Cup and, they need to blow it up. I mean, the bottom line is they've won 2 Ryder Cups since they changed everything by blowouts.
Yeah.
They were just at home. They've not won on the road for 30 years. The fact of the matter is what they were doing was actually working. I mean, they kick ass in the President's Cup, which is part of this.
Yeah.
And so this is a little bit of a risk, although where I support it is their pipeline has sort of run out. The idea was to nurture guys to be future captains. Well, who was an assistant last year that we would say would be a future captain? The only one was Stuart Sink, and he hadn't been involved in the Ryder Cup in 13 years.
Yeah.
So, this is a little bit out there, but I think we need to see how this one goes.
Well, there's a lot of things that got in the way. Bob Harrick from Sports Illustrated is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. A lot of things got in the way of the U.S. And their plans, because if we go back, let's just say 2.5 years, the plan was not for Tiger Woods to be the captain here. It was for Phil Mickelson to be the captain here. And I don't know why the PGA of America holds a grudge, but it could have easily been Phil. They could have gone to Phil, since the PGA of America and the PGA Tour are not the same. But we all understand that Mickelson has been in many ways the number one disruptor of the current state of professional golf in the United States. So I guess that's why he's not part of this. And then my question about Tiger is that, did this just not fit because Tiger is heavily involved in the Public Investment Fund PGA Tour negotiations? Or is ultimately the commitment, which is a lot more than just being the captain for the Ryder Cup, the commitment is too extensive, and maybe he just doesn't want to make that?
Yeah, it's those are all fair questions. I'm not really sure. I think the PGA Tour thing is viable to an extent, but there's a lot of guys who have a lot of stuff going on. And they juggle, and it's not like Tiger's playing a lot, So,
right.
I think that might be part of it. I think part of it might be maybe he's decided he'd just rather do it in Ireland in 2027. I think it's probably a combination of all of that. The commitment. Although the commitment to the Ryder Cup is really not that intense until you get within a year. Or even the last 9 months. And the PGA Tour Policy Board commitment is extensive, especially with what's going on right now. And Tiger seems to be full in on that. So I'll give him that, he's got other things. He's got a design business. He's got kids. He's got his foundation. He's trying to get healthy. So, I think we give him the benefit of the doubt on that. I'll be very curious. He'll talk about it next week I would guess at the Open, and we'll see what he says. But I think where this is a little bit odd is that why did this stretch out for 6 months? I mean, the decision is usually announced in the spring.
Right.
He started getting asked about it in December, and he was putting it off then. I'm not, I'm too busy with the PGA Tour stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, that wasn't going to change. So in other words, so then when you get asked about it in February and April and the answer is the same, that started to get a little curious. It was kind of weird. Okay, so in a month from now, things will be better. So I don't know. I found that to be a little bit odd. I mean, if he was really, really that concerned about the commitment, he should have probably just taken his name out then.
Bob Harrick is joining us here. We're going to get to Keegan Bradley. You mentioned a bunch of other names. I've always been curious why Fred Couples has never been a Ryder Cup captain. I think he has been a President's Cup captain 11 times, it seems. It seems like he's the fallback President's Cup captain. Like Davis Love, twice a Ryder Cup captain. They could have just gone back to him. Maybe he's otherwise not interested. I'm not sure. Bethpage is a great spot. Should be fairly home field advantage-ish for the U.S. playing in New York. But I'm curious about some of those other names because Bradley is so young. He's the youngest captain since Arnold Palmer was a playing captain. I think in the late 60s, early 70s. So when Palmer was like 36, Bradley's 38. I mean, I remember the Netflix special that I watched not that long ago. He was crushed when he was told he wasn't going to be on the team. I'm half hoping, and again, we're recording this before the press conference, I'm half hoping he names himself to the team today.
Well, first of all, your thing about Couples is interesting, but, he was President's Cup captain 3 straight times, 09, 11, and 13. And at the time he was doing that, there was no crossover. It was, if you did the President's Cup, you weren't going to be the Ryder Cup captain. There was a wall between the two back then. And, it went the other way. Like long ago, Ryder Cup captains became President's Cup captains,
right.
Like Nicklaus, Palmer. They all became President's Cup captains later on. But at that time, which was sort of the window for Couples in his 50s, early 50s, late 40s, early 50s. He's into his 60s now. He's like 64.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure that the Ryder Cup captaincy is for him now. But you're right. He's been an assistant a lot. The players love him. He's both sides. I believe he's an assistant for the President's Cup again this year in Montreal.
Right.
And so he's got that's the sort of continuity that they like, which is good. If for example, if I were Keegan, I'd bring him on board next year just for that reason. But I just think it passed him by. That's changed now. I mean, Stricker became the first guy to become a Ryder Cup captain after being a President's Cup captain. And I think that's a possibility going forward. But then what did they do? They named Furyk the President's Cup captain. They gave Davis a President's Cup captaincy after he'd been the Ryder Cup captain twice. They went away a little bit from the mandate of the Ryder Cup committee and task force and all that put in place 10 years ago, which was to nurture future captains. Instead, they started retreading them. And all of a sudden you look up and they don't have a lot of candidates.
No.
And so in that regard, Keegan might make some sense. Hopefully he brings on board, some assistants that, and the whole younger guy thing, does that help? Is it better because he relates to these guys a little bit more because he's playing, he's out there all the time, although Zach Johnson was out there all the time.
Yeah.
He played a full schedule last year. I'm curious to find out from Keegan. You mentioned he should put himself on the team. I'm curious to find out from him if his goal is to still make the team.
Should be.
He's certainly at a level where he could do that.
Yeah.
So I think the whole thing's going to be fascinating. I think what they've done here, give them credit for this. They've given the event a bit of a shot in the arm because it's not a universally accepted decision, but it's an interesting one. And if they'd have given it to Stuart Sink, who's a good guy and everybody likes, I think it would have it just would have been a little bit blah. A guy who played in 5 Ryder Cups a long time ago. He was an assistant the last time, but first time in forever, in his 50s. Instead, you're going with a guy who was that close to being on it last year, and now you're pivoting to him.
You're certainly giving it to somebody who loves the event, and they all love the event, but Keegan Bradley outwardly and emotionally loves it maybe a little bit more than others. Final thing, and this speaks to the selection of the team, and I know we're so far off, but I've heard a lot of sentiment that, well, this means it's the end for the Jordan Spieths and the Justin Thomases and the Ricky Fowlers of the world. The clique is out. They're still all going to be in the mix because of major championships, or if Ricky is playing well right now, not playing well enough to even be considered. But you're seeing, and I heard the sentiment that, well, maybe the live guys will get more of a look. My pushback on that is the live guy that deserved it was selected last time in Brooks Koepka. Bryson DeChambeau wasn't necessarily playing well enough to demand to be on that team. Dustin Johnson wasn't either, even though I thought Dustin would have been a good choice. Right now, there's zero chance that Bryson DeChambeau isn't going to be on that team. And I think there's a great chance that Brooks Koepka will also be on that team. What do you make of that particular sentiment that this opens the door for more guys from Live?
I think we still have to be sure that they're eligible. There's some question about that, but let's just assume that they are. Yeah, I mean, look, it's the way it is right now for Bryson, of course. But, I mean, it's 14 months away.
Bob Harig. The book, by the way, Drive the Lasting Legacy of Tiger Woods, which is available if you go to his Twitter, @BobHarig. You can just click right there and get it. Bob, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate your time and your work, and we will talk to you soon.
Sounds great. I appreciate you having me.
By the way, the Open Championship is next week. So we'll get, dip our toe in the golf water in a little bit, coming up in the hazard, if you will, in the burn. The Keegan Bradley's press conference is still ongoing, by the way. And there is, what do you say, another 8 minutes of that conversation with Bob Harig?
Yes, that will be on the best of.
That's in the best of. Like, the last answer to my question had to go 6 minutes.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. We talked about the players who were picked and how many great players who we weren't concerned about played poorly. All of that will be in the best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, available on YouTube and, of course, wherever you get your podcast. We will talk to Elliot Johnson in our last hour today about the All-Star Game. One thing that I would change about the All-Star Game, I will tell you later, that will have no impact on the game, but should be changed anyway. And I will give you that a little bit later on. Also, Andrew Brandt, Business of Sports, NFL and Sunday Ticket lost a class action. Well, I guess it was an antitrust lawsuit, but I think it was a combination. So you could get money back if you are a direct, or not a direct TV, a Sunday Ticket subscriber. We will explain why with Andrew Brandt coming up at 1 o'clock. We'll take a break. We'll come back. One-timers are next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And even as the playoffs wind down in basketball and hockey, there's still stuff worth wagering on if you are so inclined. And FanDuel wants to give you incentive to just keep a little skin in the game. Open up the app and enjoy all summer long. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There is something for everyone every day all summer long. Go to FanDuel.com/AGS, FanDuel.com/AGS, and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Must be 21 or older and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The 2024 Atlantic hurricane season is predicted to be among the most active we've ever experienced. Prepare your home now against power outages of all types with a Generac home standby generator from Alternative Power. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, helping protect you and your family. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
If you or a loved one have been a victim of crime, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety Office of Victim Compensation Services provides programs to help you find peace of mind. They are here to help you apply for benefits that you may qualify for to recover from hardships such as lost wages and medical expenses. To learn more, visit ncdps.gov/4victims. That's ncdps.gov/4VICTIMS.
Turning 65 soon? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming and confusing, but you're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help. SHIP counselors can help you understand Medicare benefits to make your best choices. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, 2.5 million North Carolinians are members of an electric cooperative. Every day, this network of 26 electric co-ops is working together with local members like you to power a brighter future through innovative energy technologies, community support, and enhanced grid reliability. Learn more about our brighter future vision at ncelectriccooperatives.com. North Carolina's electric cooperatives, powering a brighter future.
This is Adam Gold.
There are people out there that just, you must draft a quarterback.
Yeah, why you don't want a quarterback?
Yeah, exactly. What is wrong with you? Oh, you don't want apple pie?
Right.
Come on.
A la
No.
mode? No, maybe I like brownies, okay?
I don't want it there.
The temptation.
Yeah, I don't need it. Because I can convince myself, apple's healthy.
Right.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Top seed at Wimbledon is out. Jannik Sinner beaten by Daniil Medvedev in 5 sets in the quarterfinals. We got a cash register thing there? Yeah, cash register sound? It's one of the 3 tennis wagers we placed yesterday. First one, of course, was famously crushed. I think Novak Djokovic won in straight sets over Holger Rune from Denmark, and we thought Rune would beat. I don't think would, but could beat Djokovic. Then, of course, Novak went full heel turn, blasting the crowd for booing him. I don't know if they booed him or they were rooting for Holger Rune. I don't know. But Djokovic has won, 5 Wimbledons, 6 Wimbledons. No, he's one behind Federer. I think he won 7 Wimbledons. He's revered there. I think they just wanted to see a longer match. So anyway, Djokovic was he chastised the crowd for booing him. Come
Being
on,
a little jokey about it.
Come on, Novak.
I know.
Relax.
Lighten up.
They'll cheer you tomorrow.
Yeah,
they will.
I mean, you
Maybe
could be
not.
a fan
Maybe
of
not now.
something.
Maybe not now. All right. Lots to cover. One-timers.
Okay. First off, this is fresh off the press because we did it yesterday on our live stream on YouTube. We have another request.
Okay.
And it's a Canes question. So
I should go monitor this myself.
It's all right. That's part of all of my duties.
So. All right, fine.
My million things.
Do you
back
not
here.
want me to, or
no? I mean, you can.
Okay.
You totally welcome
make sure
to.
the sound
it's
is
just,
off.
This is why I have 10 screens in front of me, and I need to grow like 10 more arms. But Matthew on YouTube, he wants to know: do you have any insight on the status of my fave Seth Jarvie with his contract negotiations? Does it tell us anything that he is the only RFA who didn't file for arbitration?
Well, he's not eligible for arbitration. That's why he didn't file for arbitration. Only Drury and Natchez are eligible. They both filed. I don't think we're going to see an arbitration case at all. I don't have any inside information, but maybe who was our commenter?
Oh, Matthew.
Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew and I are in the same frame of mind here because I have just inquired with a deeply embedded source whether or not there's been any progress made. I have not yet received an indication, yay or nay. My guess is sure, because they should. Then there's no reason not to. And again, my guess is right now the team probably needs to just wait a second, simply because if you get to a point where you need Seth's average annual value to be a little bit lesser right now, that would mean a bridge deal. Whereas the longer-term deal would be, I think, for full value of, my guess is around $8 million. Maybe a shade less or a shade more, but right around 8. But I think that if you do a bridge, a 2-year bridge, and just kick that can down the road a little bit, I think you could come in at around 6, just in case they need to leave themselves some room if they don't want to clear other monies off the deck. They're going to end up with about $14 million to play with.
Yeah.
So if Natchez is 6 and Jarvis is 6 and Drury is 2, give or take a couple dollars here or there, then they wouldn't need to clear money off the deck.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that there's reason for both sides to wait for right now. But the only concern is getting it done before training camp. It'll get done.
Yeah, well, all right, there you go, Matthew. Now, moving on to, we talked earlier about ESPN's NHL Power Rankings.
Yes.
Let's look at the other end of the spectrum. Who do you see bringing up the rear next year? Maybe not having a great season.
Oh, gosh.
In case you missed it, it was a lot of the obvious ones. The Panthers are up there.
I
Avs
did
are
not.
up there.
I didn't go to the bottom of the list. I do think that San Jose will likely be bad again. I think Montreal will likely be bad again. But honestly, I think Columbus might be bad again. I do. I think that Columbus might be bad again. So, but other than that, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, no, these are all just assumptions.
I hope it's not Carolina.
I know. I hope it's not as well. No, that would not be good. So, moving on to some tennis. Now, you mentioned it earlier about how people were booing recently the Joker, as they call him. So, what are your thoughts? Because some people have opinions about whether this is, quote, appropriate for sports like tennis for fans to boo, athletes. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, if that's what moves you, go ahead. Right. I honestly, I don't care. And athletes, and Joker said it yesterday, and even in his little quiet tirade, it's like, I know you pay your money, you pay for the ticket, you can act the way you want. Yeah, as long as you're being respectful, I don't really care, and it's fine. But I think, honestly, they were just looking to see more tennis. I think it's mostly when you see that kind of reaction in a tennis match, especially against Djokovic. I mean, he's revered there. So I don't really understand it. But, hey, Joker's just trying to motivate himself to shockingly win another Wimbledon a few weeks after knee surgery. Incredible. Andrew Brandt, next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I want to tell you a secret. Thanks to my friend Gordon Miller, the man who invented the no closing cost mortgage, you don't ever have to pay closing costs again. That's thousands of dollars that you get to keep. Oh, it's not a secret? People have been doing it for years and years. That's right, because Miller Lending, Gordon Miller, brought the no closing cost mortgage to the Triangle in 1996. That's right. So you can always save thousands of dollars when you buy a house by not paying closing costs. Now here's another secret. The number one weapon that you have, we all have in our arsenal against cancer, early detection. Prostate cancer is very beatable if you get it early. Same with colon cancer. Ladies, breast cancer, same way. Do yourself a favor. Live the longest, fullest life you can. Get detected early. Please go see your doctor. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2140.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Nothing makes being outdoors better than having the right gear and the right crew. So here's an idea. Let Mountain Dew supply the gear and you bring the friends. Because when you buy specially marked multi-packs of Mountain Dew, you can collect points and earn epic limited edition outdoor gear. So buy Dew, collect points, get gear, and get outside with Mountain Dew outdoor gear.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+. Subject to program terms at dewoutdoors.com and 12/31/24. Void or prohibited.
Now at Circle K, get 2 Mountain Dews for just $4. That's 2 Dews for just $4 at Circle K. Do the Dew.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff. Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next? Ballroom dancing. I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hey, contact lens wearers, are you tired of wasting time and money every day putting contacts in, taking them out, cleaning, ordering new ones, glasses, prescription sunglasses? Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK can change your life. About 5 minutes per eye. You could go back to work the very next day. 2 years, 0 interest financing is available, and $1,000 off is available. 919-510-6830. 919-510-6830. Make the call. You can go online, traverslasik.com.
If you see a student being bullied, be supportive. Ask if they're okay and invite them to join you. You'll be an ally and you can make a friend. Friendship! Visit StopBullyingSpeakUp.com and join Cartoon Network to redraw your world without bullying.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. Ends September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback! Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
The one issue that they had when they had the World Cup was just size. They got out-rebounded, and if they had some size on that team, I think they'd win the gold. But now you got Embiid, you got Anthony Davis, and you got Adebayo. And Adebayo's probably your third-string center. That to me was a glaring problem with the last USA team, which is a lack of rebounding, a lack of size, and too many putback points, so many points in the paint from the other squad. I just don't see that happening.
Although I would point out that there's not a ton of size on this particular U.S. Olympic basketball team, but there's enough. There's enough size. But I don't know that they're ever going to play more than one big man at a time. Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis. Of course, he can't play the power forward spot. Bam Adebayo. But there's, tons of talent on this team. We normally kind of go through the news of the day, but here's a news item that we have actually been referencing for the last few weeks. We just haven't really dug into it all that much, and that's the NFL's lawsuit defeat in the Sunday ticket trial, if you will, a $4.7 billion award by a jury against. And using the phrase from Twitter, there will be lawyers. Well, here's one. Andrew Brandt teaches at Villanova, Sunday 7 newsletter, of which I am a subscriber. From Sports Illustrated, Business of Sports, former Packers executive. You have a long bio, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Always good to be with you. I say I have a lot of jobs, so I don't have to have a real one. That's the key.
It allows you to do a lot of hiking and training, because I know you run triathlons, right?
Yeah, I do. I just try to stay up with my fitness, and like you said, I do a lot of different things. But, since I left the Packers several years ago, it's been a nice life where I can sort of manage everything on my terms rather than, say, the team's terms.
I would just say that you are my idol in that regard. Let's get to this, the verdict, which I'm not entirely surprised, and here's why. I read an article, and I think this has to be 10, maybe 15 years ago, because I was digging into the Sunday ticket, not phenomenon, but it was still relative. Because it wasn't that early in the Sunday ticket. I was just curious about it, so I read an article. And a long time ago, why the NFL chose DirecTV, which didn't have nearly the share of the television, home television market as the standard cable subscribers would have, why they did that. And what I found out was that they did it intentionally. They didn't want to go to cable because the majority of people were cable subscribers, not satellite TV subscribers. And the affiliates, and in those cases it was really just Fox and CBS, they needed to be protected. So the NFL intentionally held the market share down. It goes a little deeper than that, but that's really the start of this, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a lawsuit that ended up with a jury verdict, as you said, of $4.7 billion. According to antitrust law, for people who don't know, these verdicts are tripled. Mm-hmm. So the total damages would be, if this ever goes through, would be over $14 billion. We're a long way from that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the gist of this is the NFL conspired with CBS, ESPN, Fox, NBC to keep the out-of-market price premium so high that it is a conspiracy and against antitrust law, and it's not a competitive price. Antitrust requires competition. So there's smoking gun memos in this trial. One was from a couple of the networks saying we need to keep these prices really high so it doesn't denigrate our product. The other was allegedly from ESPN that said, hey, we could offer Packers games or Carolina Panthers games or Lions games or Cowboys games for $60, $70. But the NFL said no.
Right.
So all these things led to a verdict, which basically said the NFL violated antitrust law. The NFL says, hey, wait a minute. We have an exemption. In 1961, the NFL got an antitrust exemption to sell their media rights collectively, not individually, collectively.
Right.
And they've done that. So every game you watch, every listener listening, every game you watch is a national game. There are no local broadcasts. Now, you may only get a few games, but they're national games. So the NFL said that should apply to out-of-market games. The jury said no. Now, here's the thing, Adam.
Yeah.
The NFL's got a long way to go. They will appeal directly to this verdict, to this judge, who showed a proclivity for their side during trial, even though the jury decided otherwise, on July 31st. They'll ask to reduce the award or set aside the whole verdict and dismiss it. If unsuccessful there, they'll appeal to the Ninth Circuit. That could take months, if not a year. If unsuccessful there, they could appeal to the Supreme Court. That could take years. So I wouldn't count on any money if you're a plaintiff right now for a long time.
Yes, I joked that, if you are a Sunday ticket subscriber, of which I'm not, and for somebody, I have to watch the Panthers. So I have it's not exactly always an enjoyable experience, but it's my job. So I'm going to watch the Panthers. And I used to be a Jets fan, but there's not a great pull to, even now with the drama around Aaron Rodgers, there's not a great pull for me to watch that. I get the best game every week. The best game, the Sunday afternoon game, the late afternoon game is the best game every week, or the Sunday night game. So I don't see the need for a Sunday ticket, but there are people who live here in Raleigh who want to watch the Bears every weekend, or the Lions, or whoever. And yeah, I mean, the ESPN thing, we can sell your team for an individual price. That probably made it even worse for the NFL in trial. My only question is the reality of 1961, when that antitrust exemption was originated, to the reality of 2024, or when Sunday Ticket began. Those are not the same, nor is this package, because it's entirely voluntary. So I'm not sure. I mean, it might be a good legal argument, but I'm not sure it's a good common sense argument.
Right. I think that makes sense. What you're saying is that's what the jury said. This is not a time you can compare to 1961. But I think what the jury can, I could have predicted this maybe. Picture yourself on a jury. You've got subscribers, including bars and restaurants and consumers, that may feel like they're being gouged. And then you've got a $20 billion a year corporation. Who are you going to side with? Now, when the NFL gets in front of an appellate court, there's no jurors.
Right.
There are these judges who tend at the higher levels to be more pro-business. I've seen this in the NFL for years, covering pick a case, Tom Brady case, the collective bargaining agreement cases, the lockout cases. They all win for the players at the lower level, and they lose at the higher level to the league. So talking to NFL attorneys, I can tell you this, they feel fine. They feel like we have the good arguments, whether you believe them or not, and we will win either with this judge or the appellate court judges.
At Andrew Brandt on Twitter, I saw you do another podcast about this, and you said that if the NFL thought that there was a danger of them really losing, they would have settled this case. They have settled other cases before. Yeah. The interesting thing is that yes, I know people, who are you going to side with? You're going to side with the consumer or a $20 billion corporation. The funny thing is that public sentiment, and I don't know the basis for this other than we've seen this happen for years and years and years. It seems like the general public never sides with the player in a labor dispute. They always side with management. And I can't figure out why, because they would never do that against their bosses. Like, the bosses are trying to pay players as little as they can possibly get away with. And me against, I'm not really calling out my bosses here. Hope they understand that. I know the deal. I know what bosses are trying to do. I just don't understand why the general public don't ever side with players. I wonder if they just take, it's a kid's game. I'd play for nothing, even though they wouldn't.
That's really interesting, because I cover collective bargaining agreements all the time, and I've been very critical of the NFLPA and some deficiencies that I've seen in those contracts. And again, these are collective contracts, and I've noticed that. I've noticed the public, and some people's like, Andrew, what's the problem? They don't have any leverage. They're not going to strike. And I'm like, you don't understand the leverage they do have. This is the collective workforce of the most popular sport in the history of the world. So they have some leverage. But you're right. I have found that the public sides with players in individual contract negotiations.
Yeah.
Much more than the union in collective contract negotiations. And at the end of the day, siding with the union is more important, because you're talking about thousands and thousands of players, and not just the few players that hold out. So I am just as confounded as you why this public reaction to the contract negotiations. Listen, the NFL needs these players. Like if they get to they sign these 10, 12-year collective bargaining agreements, and I just shake my head. Like, and they give away the 17th game, and they'll give away the 18th game, and they won't get anything back for the franchise tag, and they won't get anything back for this commissioner power. And everyone says, well, you should take what you can get because they're not going to strike. I'm like, no. Then you need a high schooler could negotiate that.
They made the medical use of marijuana a bargaining chip when it might have been better for they should be doing everything that would be beneficial to players, but they use some stuff like that as bargaining chips, so they'll be forced to swallow the 17th, and we know the 18th game is coming. And that the general public buys into Roger Goodell saying, well, I'd rather play an 18th game than have another preseason game, as though those two things are balance out the scale. And they're not even on the same planet. It bothers me because, well, we know why. But, it always confounds me. Very quickly, we only have a couple of minutes left with Andrew Brandt. This has been a real treat for me. Hopefully not too painful for you. The Carolina Panthers just got approval for stadium renovations using $650 million in taxpayer money. In fairness, that money has been set aside specifically for tourism and earmarked for things like this, so I get it. Jacksonville is more of a 50-50 split between Shad Khan's money and the city's money. When things like this come up for popular vote, they get voted down, which is why the Chiefs might end up in Kansas City, Kansas, as opposed to Missouri. But when they are given to the city council, they are always approved. Why?
They don't want to be the person, the people, the group that loses a team. And it is that, I think, infinitesimal leverage that David Tepper or Shad Khan or Clark Hunt have that there is a 0.00001% chance they'd move. They're not moving. I'm here to tell you, I'll put my stake in the ground. The Panthers weren't moving. The Jaguars weren't moving. The Chiefs aren't moving. Listen, I don't know why. That's my answer, that they don't want to be on the hook, but the owners always win here. And yes, they're billionaires. Yes, they could privately finance stadium construction or renovation.
Right.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And they don't. Why? Because they can. They don't have to worry. Just amazing to me. And I always say to people, listen, now that LA and Vegas are taken, where exactly were they going to move?
Toronto.
They're not going to Toronto. They're not going to St. Louis. They're not going to San Diego. They're not going to Salt Lake.
Right.
Come on, people. So they won. And listen, New York State, $850 million in bills.
Gosh.
Nashville, over $1 billion. Nashville, over $1 billion to the Titans.
Yeah, but that could have come from Vince Gill by himself.
It's amazing to me that this happens all the time. But, hey, L.A. and California just said no to Kroenke, and he built the SoFi Stadium with his own money. Now he's got $20 billion, but so does David Tepper.
Right.
So,
Tepper bought the team for cash. He could
for cash.
He could have had Carolina Kitchen and Bath come in and redo the entire upper deck of Bank of America Stadium and paid cash for it himself. Andrew Brandt, at Andrew Brandt on Twitter. The Sunday 7 newsletter is a must. I am a subscriber. Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it.
You got it, Adam. People are asking. So you just go to mysunday7.com and you sign up. You get a newsletter. You get my videos. And I also do these reels at Andrew Brandt 2 at Instagram. So hope to see everyone soon.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Andrew Brandt here on the Adam Gold Show. When we come back, for the first time since I have been here, I have been in North Carolina for 26 years. February 1st of 1998, I woke up in North Carolina as somebody who lives in North Carolina. We have not had a different voice of NC State other than Gary Hahn. We have a new one, and we will meet him next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the summer of soccer.
Federski for Capetti. It's stolen away by Hack. Hit the line by Gaines. A shot. He scores!
All the saves.
Polina with brilliant, quick footwork across his 6-yard box to be able to recover and grab the strike from Kubo.
All the goals.
He just sends it back into the area for Swiderski. One touch. He scores!
The Triangle's home for Charlotte FC action. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Adam Gold here from my man, Coach Pete DeRuta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. He is an expert on retirement planning. You, me, everybody else thinking about, well, can we retire? Why don't we find out? Let's go to the expert himself, Coach Pete DeRuta, and lucky for us, he's local. Apex Capital Financial Advisory Group right there. Fiduciaries, which means they are legally obligated to consider your needs above theirs. In other words, they ain't working on commission, people. They're not selling you products that you might not need. Coach Pete is designing for you a totally customized retirement plan for your needs in retirement and today. All you have to do is call, and I want you to do that right now. 888-843-0013 or text Adam to 600-700, because if you do that right now, that totally customized retirement plan is yours for free. It's a $1,000 value for somebody else. 888-843-0013 or text Adam to 600-700 and retire on your terms with Coach Pete DeRuta.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent. So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle.
Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Free and Gentle. This back-to-school season, Tide and Downy are giving back with $1.5 million in scholarships. Enter to win. No purchase necessary. US/DC 17+. End September 30th. Rules. Tide.com/scholarship/official rules.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Matt Kazanow is going to join us in a little bit. He's the new voice of NC State. During the break, I got caught up reading Twitter comments from apparently Big 12 Media Days is today.
Oh.
And Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, loves to hear himself talk.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
That's
does he
fun.
love it. And he said the Big 12 has solidified itself as one of the top 3 conferences in America.
So he's one of those guys at Thanksgiving that says the same story every year.
Yes. Could we make the list of the Big 12 programs that have fled the conference, including the 2 biggest fish? Now, I know I say this as Florida State and Clemson are trying to lawyer their way out of the ACC, which I guess could happen. I just don't anticipate it happening unless the ACC says, we'll take your $600 billion, or $600 million, not $600 billion. That would be silly. We'll take your $600 million if you want to go. I think Florida State and Clemson are in until the league decides that, or ESPN decides that the league is not viable. And I don't know that that's going to happen. Anyway, I just find that fascinating that they're the only league that has been hemorrhaging teams, other than, of course, the Pac-12, which is completely gone. And I don't know if it's I'm sure it isn't a result of the Pac-12's demise, but for 9 years, former voice of the Washington State Cougars, Matt Kazanow, is now the voice of the NC State Wolfpack. First of all, Matt, welcome to the show. I feel like I've heard your voice a lot, even though I don't listen to a lot of Washington State athletics. I do want to know, did I pronounce your name right? Because I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it's what it looks like. Yeah, it's
good.
Chazanow. Yeah.
Oh, Chazanow.
Heavy on the front end there. You got it. And I guess you were up pretty late for some late night wild West Coast football. If you've heard me before.
No, I know you spent a fair amount of time out in Winston-Salem, right?
Yes. You are correct.
You have some IMG sports experience. First of all, congratulations on the gig.
Thank you.
So I know you got your start. I read a piece, and I think it was on 3. You got your start at High Point, so you're very familiar with what this area is all about. What really drew you to NC State and them to you?
Yeah, I started at High Point and then actually worked at UNC Greensboro and then lived in Winston 10 years. And I think NC State's just incredible. I mean, they're on a run now that's almost unparalleled and maybe so in a contemporary sense. But even beyond that, the history of it, and if you know sports, not just college sports, but if you know sports, you know the profound place that the Wolfpack holds in all of athletics in the country, right? And so it's just an amazing opportunity. You know, Gary was here 34 years. These things don't pop up very often, if ever, and so it's really the opportunity of a lifetime. And it's just incredibly fortuitous with regard to how it dovetails with my family and that I've been here and how my experience worked with it all. The Venn diagram overlap is significant, and I'm just absolutely thrilled, and so I'm really excited to be here.
At M_Chaz on Twitter, you don't do a lot of tweeting, at least a lot of original tweeting. You do a lot of retweeting, but that's fine. I mean, we're all on Twitter for one reason or another. So at M_Chaz, Matt Chazanow, the new voice of NC State football and men's basketball. I said before, well before you came on, that I moved here in 1998. I woke up February 1st, 1998 in North Carolina for the first time. I have not left. And when I got here, Gary Hahn was the voice of the Wolfpack. The late Woody Durham and the late Bob Harris were both voices of Carolina and Duke, respectively. And it's only been recently that Jones Angell took over. Bob Harris left, 5 or 6 years ago. So it's brand new. I mean, this is a whole new era Who is the broadcaster, especially a college guy, that grabbed you as a young broadcaster? And I know you started when you were, 21?
Gosh, I had the luck and the great fortune of starting in a place where I could hear so many guys from all around the country. I was in that broadcast hub in Winston-Salem for 10 years. And so I heard guys from everywhere, from the West Coast and the middle of the country, and of course guys here in ACC and SEC country. And, I grew up in New Jersey, so I kind of grew up in Big East country, and now all of that's evolved, if you will.
It's Big Ten country now.
That's right. That's right. New Jersey and Los Angeles, the heart of Big Ten country. Exactly. I've really, lately, the guy I replaced in Washington State, he's passed, and his name was Bob Robertson. He was there 50 years. And I know he's not a name that will bring a lot of memories to folks here in Raleigh, but he was really special at what he did. And he was, he really captured the Cougar fan base. And so it was instructive and insightful to see how he did it. And he was really specific. Kevin Calabro, who used to do a bunch of ESPN national stuff, did the Sonics before that. He's awesome. I'm kind of naming some West Coast guys, but they were great. He does the Blazers right now on TV. Yeah. I really admire his work. I think he's fantastic. And but the one thing I don't do is say, okay, here's how Gary Hahn did it. Here Bob Harris and Woody Durham, these iconic voices from this region. I've done this long enough to know it's not good to try to be somebody other than yourself. And there are things Gary did that I absolutely want to cherry pick. From kick to whistle, Gary was as good a broadcaster as there's been. He just was fantastic. Yep. And there are ways he did it that I'd love to copy in my own way. Woody Durham and Bob Harris were amazing in their own ways. And there's some ways you can't beat Keith Jackson. He's just so unique. Vin Scully for 5-6 decades did what he did, how he did it in a way that's very hard to duplicate. And so I don't pretend to be those guys,
right?
With all humility, truly. And then also we're in that world, in that business, in that ecosystem, and so you do pick guys you admire, to your point, and do your best to try to take what you like, and then you hear some other things you don't like so much, not from those guys necessarily, but from anybody, and so you try to figure out what you want to be in your craft, and that's an evolution. I don't think that anybody who enjoys doing this, who loves doing this, ever really stops that process.
Matt Chazanow, the new voice of NC State Wolfpack. By the way, I forgot, I left out Jeff Charles from my question intro. I don't want to lose that, and he passed away as well recently. And Charles, again, was the voice of ECU when I moved here. So we're not going to hear pull up a chair like Vince Scully or whoa Nelly during NC State athletics. Where in Jersey are you from as a guy who basically grew up at exit 154, 150, depending on where I was living, 151 or 154 on the Garden State Parkway? Where is Matt Chazanow from?
Well, very specifically exit 135. So you know exactly where I am.
Okay, yeah.
The Westfield Clark exit. I grew up off 135, hang a right, drive about 15 minutes, you're at my house. So there you go. Yeah, that's pretty funny. New York, Jersey, North Jersey.
Of course. Well, look, I've had this conversation with people. There are 3 New Jerseys. Only one of them is really New Jersey. South Jersey is Philadelphia. North Jersey is New York. Central Jersey, Bruce Springsteen territory, is Jersey. Everything else is either New York or Philadelphia.
Yeah, I actually often said I grew up in New York. I mean, I was born in New York City and then grew up in a bedroom community, essentially in New York City, hour train commute, which is very common, as you well know.
Yep.
And I'll tell you this, I am an elated transplant. I love it here, and I missed it here, and it feels like home. It always felt like home when I left, and my wife and I have been coming back multiple times annually over the last 9+ years we've been gone, and so we're just really, really excited to now, not only in our minds and our hearts, call it home, but in our, where our seats are, if you will, and we're excited to be here.
All right, final thing for Matt Chasnow, the new voice of NC State football, men's basketball, and you mentioned that this could be, it's an incredible time to be getting involved in Wolfpack athletics because it does appear a lot of things are on the rise. I don't know if we're going to the Final Four in men's and women's basketball again. Like last year, what a year it was for the Wolfpack last year. College World Series, men's and women's basketball, football had a great year. But Dave Doran is certainly on the upward trajectory, and I think it's a testament to how solid the foundation of the program is that they have been able to build that.
I didn't get that memo. I thought we were going back to the Final Four.
Yeah, maybe you are. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was, and there's a college football playoff that's expanded. Yep. I thought it was that, and then Omaha, and I thought this was an annual deal. I don't know. I look forward to it. I can't wait for that. It's going to be it's been an amazing run, and football has been really, really good. And I know that there's always an unquenchable thirst for more, and a lot of that is a testament to all the success that's been going on around here, and I think expectations often are really good because it means things are going well, and when expectations are high and they're not irrational and wild and weird, that's what you want. That's exciting. I think if you're a one-win team and your expectation is to go to the playoff, that's probably not logical, right? And even in the era of the portal and NIL and all these things, it's just hard to turn it around that fast. Football is a battleship and basketball is a speedboat. And it's a full, 175 seat plane, and football is such a beast with one game a week and all the build up and all that it is. And things just take time. Those are not pots that boil over quickly. The Michael O'Connell shot that propels you to the Final Four just doesn't quite happen the same way in football. It's just a different beast, and it's a kind of a longer, each game is its own story. And not that that's untrue for hoops, but it's just a longer paragraph set. So I can't wait to get started. My understanding is practice starts in like 2.5 weeks, and I can't wait to be there.
Yeah, they call it fall. I think fall should be offended that they call it fall camp because it ain't fall in July in North Carolina. But welcome back. I hope we can make regular conversations. I appreciate your time, sir. Congratulations. We'll talk again.
Adam, thank you for the call. Thank you for having me on, and I look forward to it. I'd love to do it again at your leisure and convenience. I can't wait to be available for it. And, you mentioned Jones Angel and David Shoemake, the guy who does Duke. Red's just a better color than blue. It's just superior shade of, you get those two guys. I don't know about that.
There's a reason why the Carolina Hurricanes chose red.
I love that. Absolutely. Raleigh based as they should have. No
Absolutely.
Doubt.
It's funny though, in PNC Arena, even though the Hurricanes technically aren't affiliated with any school, if you're a Tar Heel, you get booed. If they have like Tyler Hansborough winds the siren for a game, he gets booed. I'm like, come on. We're supposed to be like nonpartisan at these things, but obviously not.
I love it. I love all the passions around it. It's a blast. It's what makes it special.
It is amazing. Matt, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again.
Okay. Thank you, Adam.
You got it. Matt Chasnow. I was saying his name wrong for like 4 days.
It's okay. Now you know.
Now I got it.
I'm used to that, so my name.
Oh, no.
People saying my name wrong, so I'm sure he is, too.
How can they get Victoria wrong?
I know. It's difficult.
What is with that? All right.
So many Veronicas.
Do you get that?
Oh, my gosh. So many. Like, Victoria and Veronica are not the same name.
Well, not only aren't they the same name, Victoria, like, I'm not saying that either is in the top 10 of, like, if
common.
Common names for women, but
yeah, you'd be amazed.
Victoria's got to be higher on that list than Veronica.
I don't know if it's because it starts and ends with the same letter, but I don't know.
Bunch of Archie's
People don't
fans.
read the ones in the maybe.
Right?
I don't know.
Bunch of comic books fans.
Fun little fact.
All right. So yesterday, I mentioned in the conversation with Pat Forty of Reese Bierman, the UNC tennis player, who is spearheading this class action lawsuit against the NCAA for not allowing her to accept prize money. She's a tennis player. To accept prize money for entering and progressing, or even playing, in a professional tennis tournament. And it might have been the U.S. Open. I'm not 100% sure. She earned $49,000. She would have earned $49,000. The NCAA forbid her for taking it. We are about to enter into an era where schools will be allowed to directly pay athletes for playing. Directly pay athletes for playing. And we are this close to athletes being declared employees of the university. Like, name, image, and likeness has been the law of the land now for several years. So they are allowed to earn money through sponsorships. We're about to start putting advertising on uniforms. And somehow, when I said, what's the difference between prize money and NIL, a listener, Daniel, you seriously think actual prize money from a pro event isn't different than NIL? Well, yes, they're different, but the premise is the same. The premise is I earn money based on my athletic prowess, the team I am on, the success we have. His response was, but getting money from a professional event actually makes you a professional athlete. I mean, it does, but only because the NCAA has determined that. The truth of the matter is that whether you earn money through endorsements or earn money through an event, through your success in the event, doesn't change the fact that you earned the money based on the sport that you are playing, based on the event that you are playing. For instance, if the amateur golfer is going to play in the Masters and you can earn money with advertising, like wearing Titleist on your hat, you can do that. What's the difference between that and you finishing tied for 34th and Augusta National cutting you a check for $74,000? What's the difference? There's no difference. You're still earning money based on that. So that argument didn't work. The question, do you think athletes should be allowed to be fully professional and play in college? Then he says, LeBron could retire from the NBA but go play for Duke. I'm like, first of all, the second part of that is fundamentally silly because your eligibility clock, well, I guess his eligibility clock never started because he never went to school, but it's fundamentally silly. But do I think they should be allowed to be fully professional or earn prize money and still play in college? And the answer is hell yes. Hell yes, I do. Because there's no problem. There shouldn't be a problem with it. It's a false equivalency. Because the first part of that question does make sense. The first part of that question is if you're a tennis player or a golfer or a swimmer, Pat Ford, and this is the reason it was brought up, Katie Ledecky could not swim for Stanford once she turned pro. She was forced to make a choice while she was in school. And in the first 2 years, she chose to remain an amateur swimmer, which meant that even though she was already a decorated, famous Olympic champion, she couldn't get $2 million a year from Speedo or Gatorade or whatever. Before her junior year, she decided, that's a lot of money. Let me go grab it because I can, but the trade-off was she could no longer swim for Stanford. Isn't that arbitrary? Isn't that not only random but silly to force these athletes to make that choice when having famous athletes populate your sports, even the non-revenue sports, would raise the profile of those sports immensely. It would make them more attractive to television, for ticket sales, for everything. I just watched the NCAA track and field championships. They were out in Eugene, Oregon, and they were on late at night or whatever. I watched a bunch of it, and it's like the second greatest track and field meet in the world, almost. The greatest one is the Olympic trials, other than the actual Olympics. And you can make an argument that the U.S. Olympic trials might be better in some ways. I'm generalizing here. But so many of those athletes are going to be in the Olympics. Wouldn't it be great if the athletes, and there's a 16-year-old, by the way, who's going to make the Olympic team. I don't know her name. She's going to, or his name. He's going to run in the 4x400 meter relay. Wouldn't it be great if that kid, that guy, can go be a pro, earn money from being in the running track events? We don't do many pro events here, but in Europe they have it. Earn money and then go to school and have name recognition. And now people might want to actually go and watch, or like sit at home and watch. By the way, Michael Johnson is trying to have a track and field league in the United States. I'm fascinated by the possibility of something like that. I think we all kind of dig at some level, especially the speed, the sprinting part of track and field, the 100, 200, 400, the hurdles, all that. I think we all kind of dig that. But the answer is, of course, you should be able to do both. To me, it comes down to this. If you are against a college athlete entering the U.S. Open tennis and taking that prize money, then you must also be against NIL entirely, which I will grant you I don't agree with, but I think is a defendable point. I don't agree with, honestly, what Bubba Cunningham is about. Bubba Cunningham at UNC has been against, is no longer, because we all understand the inevitability of it, and it's legal now. It was mandated by court anyway. So, but to his core, he is a collegiate model person. And while I disagree with it, I respect that. So if you are anti-NIL, I'm cool with that. I think you're wrong, but that's fine. But you can't be pro-NIL and anti-prize money, because ultimately the two things are the same. Different ways of getting the money, but it's still money earned for performance in your sport. I don't understand it. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We will place bets. I'll pat myself in the back. We've got soccer tonight. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
ACT Construction Equipment is proud to be your certified local Takeuchi dealer in Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Wilmington, and Myrtle Beach. Takeuchi has long been a world leader in the compact construction industry. Let ACT Construction Equipment help you find the right machine for the job. Our full line of excavators, track loaders, and attachments are designed for low maintenance and high productivity. Stop in today for a demo or visit us online at actce.com. ACT Construction Equipment, your authorized Takeuchi dealer.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And even as the playoffs wind down in basketball and hockey, there's still stuff worth wagering on if you are so inclined. And FanDuel wants to give you incentive to just keep a little skin in the game. Open up the app and enjoy all summer long. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There is something for everyone every day all summer long. Go to FanDuel.com/AGS, FanDuel.com/AGS, and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Must be 21 or older and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
If you or a loved one have been a victim of crime, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety Office of Victim Compensation Services provides programs to help you find peace of mind. They are here to help you apply for benefits that you may qualify for to recover from hardships such as lost wages and medical expenses. To learn more, visit ncdps.gov/4victims. That's ncdps.gov/4victims. Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, 2.5 million North Carolinians are members of an electric cooperative. Every day, this network of 26 electric co-ops is working together with local members like you to power a brighter future through innovative energy technologies, community support, and enhanced grid reliability. Learn more about our brighter future vision at ncelectriccooperatives.com. North Carolina's electric cooperatives, powering a brighter future.
This is Adam Gold.
Victoria, you played sports in high school, right?
Oh, yeah. Basketball, and I swam.
Could you imagine competing for $1 million?
No.
$1 million.
I competed for plastic trophies.
I was also a high school athlete, baseball player. No, and I could never even imagine it.
No.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold, 25 minutes away from a conversation about how to fix Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. Not fix it. I will make it better. But I don't know that I will fix it. Elliot Johnson, former big leaguer, he will join us. We'll talk about the All-Star Game, whether or not the Yankees or Braves are in trouble. Probably neither are in trouble, but both have certainly shown some warts. One since an injury, the other since a return, interestingly enough. Anyway, Elliot Johnson will join us in a little bit for that. The Big 12 Media Days are sponsored this year. I don't know if the ACC's Media Days are sponsored. I know we'll be there in 2 weeks. By Totino's Pizza Rolls.
Is it 2 a.m. on a Saturday?
I think that's hysterical. So, shout out to the Big 12.
Yeah.
The Totino's Pizza Rolls
Wow.
Big 12 Media Day.
There we go.
I just hope.
I want to see the mascot.
I just hope that they keep bringing around
Yeah.
Totino's Pizza Rolls. Like every half hour,
Yes.
somebody is parading through,
Right.
Whatever Media Central and passing out pizza rolls.
And be
to
careful because as soon as you bite into it, it's hot lava.
people. Super hot. Yes. All right, it's time to stretch.
Well, speaking of food, but this won't burn your mouth. McDonald's, if their ice cream machine actually works, is adding a new McFlurry to their menu. And this is the second one, I believe, in the last couple of months. So tomorrow they are debuting a Kit Kat McFlurry that's going to have, it's called the Kit Kat Banana Split McFlurry. So
Doesn't sound bad yet.
no, I don't hate it. Of course, this is all, hoping that the machine actually works, but it has vanilla soft serve, real bananas, strawberry clusters. They didn't say real in front of that one. And crushed up Kit Kats. I don't know what strawberry clusters are. So user discretion.
Didn't say real.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So there you go. If you want to give that a try, that is tomorrow. And they say it's available while supplies last, which, again, if the machine is working. So, yeah, supplies might last a little longer depending on your location.
I saw a commercial, back-to-back commercials in the break room before we started the show.
Mhm.
There were back-to-back law commercials. And in the first law commercial, it said underneath the guy's name, actual lawyer. The second commercial, it just, under the guy's name, it just said lawyer. Didn't say actual. So I started thinking maybe this guy is not really he's like
it's a red flag.
A fake lawyer.
It's a red flag.
Yes.
Probably should be called strawberry clusters. So, yeah, go get you a Kit Kat McFlurry tomorrow if you feel so inclined. Maybe you could pay for it by winning some bets.
Hope so.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
So I did win, plus 325, Daniil Medvedev to beat Jannik Sinner, Wimbledon. I've got Svitolina over Rybakina tomorrow morning. I thought the match was today. It's tomorrow morning at plus 230. I lost the Djokovic match yesterday. I think he was calling me out for betting on Holger Rune. But so far, 1 out of 2, and I only have to go 1 out of 3 if I hit the right one, and I hit the right one. Yeah, whatever.
There you go.
I just made an obscene gesture almost. So you're up.
Okay, so going to the mound. The Los Angeles Dodgers are going to be in Philly taking on the Phillies. And this one could be a good one. I think the Phillies are going to win, though. They have Wheeler pitching today. So give me the Phillies to win, and it'd be over 9. It could be exciting.
We're going to the European Championships, which we are 1 hour away. France and Spain. Spain's playing better. France probably is better. Those two things will cancel each other out. We're going extra time, people, which means the draw is the bet, plus 175.
All right, so yesterday I picked this game, and it was weird. It went 1 inning, like 1 run. That was it. The Cleveland Guardians in Detroit taking on the Tigers, and Tigers won by 1. That was it. Give me the Guardians today, though, to come back, and let's keep it under 8.5 since there was 1. That's plus 230.
Jesse Marsh is the head coach for Canada in Copa America. He clearly wants to be the U.S. head coach, which, I mean, you could tell because he can't shut up about USA soccer, which I don't blame him. It's been pretty disappointing, and it'll be disappointing for Jesse Marsh and Canada tonight. They will lose 2-0 to Argentina, plus 490 if you want to be real specific. Wall of Sound is next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Bobby Joe absolutely hated her job.
Can't hate that job any more than I do.
So, time for one of those fancy tech schools?
No, I could never afford that. I'm going to Sharky's.
Sharky's?
Yeah, no better place to relax. Great food, cold beer, good whiskey, darts, billiards.
So now you love your job?
No, I still hate my job, but I loves me some Sharky's. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, everybody loves Sharky's. Sharky's Place, one of the best neighborhood bars in the world. 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff. Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next? Ballroom dancing. I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck. And less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7664 now to secure your 1904p $20 gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-895-7664.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money, your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Every second counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24/7 to provide free assistance in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
This is Pre-Tection. Yep, Pre-Tection. The everyday skin protection ritual that protects your skin from mosquitoes. Pre-barbecue. Pre-playground. Pre-everything. Pre-every day. Prevention is the best protection. This summer, make sure you have OFF, the #1 dermatologist-recommended repellent brand. SC Johnson, a family company.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Tavo Teravainen hurts, Stefan Nason hurts, but these are guys who did a lot of damage on the power play and, not huge 5-on-5 contributors. So I'm wondering, with more opportunity, do we just see that kind of level out of it? It's going to be super interesting. I mean, it's a different team for sure, but I would say step back, but not as bad, not as bad as everyone wants to make it out to be.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. That is Victoria. We had Corey Lavalette from The Athletic and North State Journal on yesterday. Clearly, maybe he had something to do with ESPN's way too early power ranking. Actually, no, he didn't, but he's not far off. I don't think the Hurricanes are the 6th best team in the NHL, but I certainly don't think they are near the bottom. I think they will be in the mix for certainly number 3. I don't think if you look at the Hurricanes on paper, I don't think they're as good as the Rangers this year. I don't think they're as good as the Devils this year. But I don't think they're dramatically different from the, Rangers or Devils. I just think those two teams are a little bit more easily kind of forecast. Hurricanes will find some challenging, elements this year. They're going to be difficult to score, a little bit more difficult to score. It's hard to believe that their power play will be as good. Of course, last year's power play was great, and for much of the year, it was near the top. They didn't have Jake Ensel for much of the year. Teuvo Teravainen was good on the power play, not great. Steph Nason was good on the power play, not great. So the Hurricanes' power play was, in general, there was a lot of Michael Bunting in there, but there was a lot of Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho, and eventually Andrei Svechnikov. But I think Carolina has clearly taken a step back. But I don't know that the Metropolitan Division is all that fierce. I think the Devils probably have the best roster. Now they just have to figure out how to put it together. And that'll be Sheldon Keefe's job. Former Maple Leafs head coach is now the head coach of the New Jersey Devils. We're going to talk baseball with Elliot Johnson. I said this earlier. I am going to not fix the All-Star Game, but I am going to make one change that I think will help the All-Star Game.
Home Run Derby.
Instead of the All-Star Game?
Yeah.
Well, there's an argument for that.
I know Elliot loves that.
I dig Home Run Derby. It goes too long.
Yeah.
It just goes too long. And I don't know if there's this, I guess it used to go longer.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But it just kind of goes too long. Anyway, we'll talk to Elliot Johnson in 12 minutes from right now. Let's do the Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, we haven't done any football. Why not? Let's mix it up a little bit. A little football. Adam Schefter from ESPN. Joe Burrow did an interview. I forget exactly where he was when he did this. I saw clips of the interview. Anyway, he made it pretty clear that we are headed to an 18-game schedule. We brought that up with Andrew Brandt at the top of the last hour. It's going to be an 18-game schedule, even though most players don't really want it. Here's Adam Schefter. Here's actually Joe Burrow on that.
What I find maybe most interesting about that whole idea is the fact that we have a prominent player, one of the faces of the league, just openly talking about an 18-game schedule. And so this is now moving in a direction that the league absolutely wants it to move in. And it's an interesting idea. It's a great idea. I like it. If they get to 18 games, absolutely should be considered. But it was more interesting to me that you've got a face of a league just openly thinking along those lines that, okay, well, if we go to 18 games, this is what it should look like. So if that's happening, it's just another sign to me that it's tracking that way, and it's only a matter of time before we get to 18 games.
Joe Burrow, is not the face of the league or even a face of the league, my opinion. Joe Burrow accepting what is likely going to happen, whether Joe Burrow likes it or not, isn't a sign that it's going to happen. It was always going to happen once the players caved in on 17 games. Oh, I said it then. Always going to happen. One of the things we didn't have time for with our conversation with Andrew Brandt, and we briefly touched on the NFL's collective bargaining agreement, is that NFL players as a whole, there are too many players in the union who cannot afford to miss a year of their careers. about half the league plays for what would amount to the league minimum. Now, that's slightly over the league minimum, but about half the league plays on a contract that is less than $2 million, and about half the league is going to be out of the league in 2 or 3 years. They can't afford to miss a year. If NFL players as a whole were willing to sacrifice a season, they could go a long way towards beating management in a collective bargaining situation. This just in, they won't. They won't. Therefore, they're always going to lose in collective bargaining. Always. Just, it's an unfortunate reality of the NFL. Chris Canty, who played in the NFL, now one of the big radio triumvirate on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN. They were talking about quarterbacks today. C.J. Stroud, well, I'm just going to let him say, this is about Anthony Richardson being on the same level as 2 other quarterbacks.
I think C.J. Stroud and Trevor Lawrence are top 10 quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson, from an ability standpoint, is looking at those guys eye to eye. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to see what Shane Steichen can do with that. I think the Indianapolis Colts are one of the boom teams this year. You got to think if Anthony Richardson is able to stay healthy and available throughout the regular season, this is going to be a squad that's vying for a division title and a playoff spot.
Here's where I wonder if Chris Canty watches football. If I'm C.J. Stroud, I'm like, hey, boss, I know I've only been in the league 1 year. And no disrespect to Anthony Richardson, who played, 4 games?
Yeah, pretty much.
If I'm C.J. Stroud, I am miles better than Trevor Lawrence.
Absolutely.
I'm offended that you brought up Trevor Lawrence and my name in the same sentence.
I would take Stroud over Lawrence. 100%.
I've been saying this for a long time. If Trevor Lawrence gets better, I am more than willing to eat this. There is no more overrated quarterback in the entire sport than Trevor Lawrence. I think he is just okay. But I thought that his last 2 years at Clemson. His first year at Clemson, he was amazing. Second year, he was pretty good. Third year, I thought they got away.
Yeah.
With Trevor Lawrence just being halfway decent, but they were just better than everybody, and ultimately they lost in the college football playoff. But man, I don't know that he has gotten better since his freshman year.
I haven't seen it.
So
he's got great hair.
But he does have incredible hair. That is probably too harsh, okay? I'm sure he's gotten better. He's not the same player he was as a freshman. But he didn't get better in year 2 of the NFL from year 1. I'm sorry, in year 3 from year 2.
Yeah.
Because he's now in year 4. He is not better now than he was 2 years ago.
I've just never understood the hype. I mean, he's decent, but the hype has just been so, heavy for him.
Because he's 6'6". He's really fast.
Well, being taller makes you
and
better.
He's got long blonde hair.
Right. Right.
He is essentially Fabio.
He is. Bring in the horses.
Exactly. All right, one more thing. The number one story coming out of the USA men's basketball Olympic team scrimmage with the USA Select team was not anybody who is going to be playing in the Olympics. It was Duke's Cooper Flag. Here's ESPN basketball writer Tim Bontemps along with, I think it's Kevin Negandhi on SportsCenter.
Tim, what are people saying about Duke commit Cooper Flag?
Well, this is a pretty remarkable story, Kevin. You've got Cooper Flag, who is 17 years old. He doesn't turn 18 until December. And when he was born in 2006, in December 2006, Kevin Durant was in his freshman year at Texas, and LeBron James was in his 4th NBA season. And he was out here in this scrimmage with the select team, going toe-to-toe with those guys, and really dominated the final portions of that scrimmage. I saw our PJ Carlesimo afterward, and he was joking with Matt Painter, one of the select team coaches, that Painter doesn't have Duke on the schedule and will not have them on the schedule now after seeing Cooper Flagg in this game. And I asked Tatum about the way Cooper Flagg played and going to, as you said, his alma mater in Duke. And he said that he looked every bit the part of a guy who fit being out here on the court, despite the fact he's the first college player to be part of the select team since Doug McDermott and Marcus Smart back in 2013. And those guys were already well into their college careers when they were here playing against Team USA. Cooper Flagg hasn't even played in a college basketball game yet. And that's why the executive on hand here wanted to see him play, because he right now is projected by our Jonathan Gavoni as the number 1 pick in next year's NBA draft.
Yeah, I don't know what you're going to be able to see over the course of a college season that is going to make NBA executives unsee a 17-year-old looking like he belonged in that environment. I just don't. I mean, what could you possibly watch over the course of a season? Unless he does nothing at the college level. Seriously, unless he's ineffective at the college level. There's nothing you can unsee about what happened in Vegas. Incredible. I've only seen highlights of it, but this was everything that was written about what happened yesterday. When we come back, Elliot Johnson, former big leaguer, Durham Bulls legend, on the All-Star Game. I don't know about snubs. Are the Yankees and Braves done? No. And Willie Mays. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard. You look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I want to tell you a secret. Thanks to my friend Gordon Miller, the man who invented the no closing cost mortgage, you don't ever have to pay closing costs again. That's thousands of dollars that you get to keep. Oh, it's not a secret? People have been doing it for years and years. That's right, because Miller Lending, Gordon Miller, brought the no closing cost mortgage to the Triangle in 1996. That's right. So you can always save thousands of dollars when you buy a house by not paying closing costs. Now here's another secret. The number one weapon that you have, we all have in our arsenal against cancer, early detection. Prostate cancer is very beatable if you get it early. Same with colon cancer. Ladies, breast cancer, same way. Do yourself a favor. Live the longest, fullest life you can. Get detected early. Please go see your doctor. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 250-2146.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Let me talk to those of you who are contact lens wearers. Are you tired of wasting time and money every day, putting them in, taking them out, cleaning, ordering new ones, glasses, prescription sunglasses? I could go on and on. Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK are your answers to my question. In just 5 minutes per eye, Dr. Lori can put you on the path to 20/20 vision. Plus, it's totally painless. You can go back to work the next day. And 2 years, 0 interest financing is available. And we're throwing in $1,000 off. Now the hard part, you actually have to pick up the phone. 919-510-6830. Make the call now. The consultation is free. You could go online, traverslasik.com, but you can call 919-510-6830, 919-510-6830. Go to 2020 Vision in less than 10 minutes. Dr. Lori Travers, Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. Is it? It's a week from today, correct? And I remember when the All-Star Game used to matter, I was going to say just a little bit more. How about tons more? And there's a lot of reasons for that. Players used to get, and they still get paid to go there, but because they weren't all making a lot of money, and not all of them are making tons of money, but we have some players there making like $40 million. What they get for being on the All-Star team just doesn't register as much, and it used to. Winning share, losing share. I'll tell you what I did used to like a lot more is that during the games, they would be wearing their actual team's uniforms, and that's changed. Why? Elliot Johnson, my man, big leaguer, my friend at Elliot Johnson 9 on Twitter. Sir, why can't we wear our uniforms during the All-Star Game anymore?
I don't know. I liked it back when they did that too, because I like that they're representing their home team rather than representing a league. I think they did that switch, and I'm not 100% sure, but I remember C-League did the thing where if you win the All-Star Game, you get home field advantage in the World Series. Remember that? And so
yes.
I get guys to play a little bit harder, but it, right? Because you don't want anybody to get hurt. But I liked it back in the day when guys used to wear their uniforms.
So I think this switch happened just a few years ago. It used to be where for home run derby, you'd be wearing those, like, whatever they would, like, make up uniforms, sort of in the style of the team that was hosting, and you'd have the American and the National League players. And now I think you wear your own uniforms during home run derby, but you wear those silly All-Star Game uniforms during the game now, I think. But doesn't that illustrate a problem in that the All-Star Game has lost a lot of appeal to a lot of people? I mean, I never missed an All-Star Game as a kid, ever missed an All-Star Game as a kid. And now, if I'm not doing anything else, I'll catch the last couple of innings. I can't remember the last time I watched first pitch.
Wow. Okay. So, I was the same. I watched every single second I could. I remember how different it felt. I remember how amazing it was to watch the best of the best going up against each other. But I can promise you, I never missed the home run derby, Adam.
Oh, I agree with that.
Derby is the greatest thing ever. And they're trying to make it better and they're trying to incentive guys to go. I think Pete Alonso has been to every single one since he's been available, right? And I think he's made more money in the home run derby than he has playing, for the Mets.
Yep.
But we could talk about that later. But so I think they're trying to find ways to get creative. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't. But by and large, I still like the All-Star Game. I enjoy the heck out of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this year shakes out too.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It just doesn't mean as much to me. Maybe, I don't know. I was going to say, these players make too much money, but I don't think that's the same case for me. It's just lost something. Maybe it's interleague play. Is there something about the game that could use fixing? I mean, I don't know. It's the only game that closely mirrors the game that we watch every other day during the year. The NHL All-Star Game doesn't look like NHL hockey. The NBA All-Star Game doesn't look like the NBA. They don't even have a Pro Bowl anymore. Baseball's All-Star Game is the only one that resembles a regular season game, but it's generally a bunch of strikeouts, one inning of runs, and then we're done.
Well, I mean, that's fair. They're probably going to have all the guys that throw the hardest up there.
Yeah.
And so those guys tend to be really good, and there's a direct correlation between velocity and strikeouts. So, strangely enough, the guys at the All-Star Game are going to be the guys that throw them enough because the reaction time is the lowest. And if they have a really good split or breaking ball off of it, it's really hard to hit both of them. So it's not going to be surprising. But there'll be a mistake made, and somebody will hit a home run or two. And, maybe if you remember, I think it was in Milwaukee when Torrey Hunter robbed Barry Bonds of that home run.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit of action like that again.
I hope we get something like that. I want to talk to you about, well, who knows if we're going to be able to talk next week. So let me ask you, what's your first memory of the All-Star Game?
First memory of the All-Star Game that I can remember. It's got to be Ryan Sandberg. I was a Cubs fan going back.
Okay.
So it's got to be watching number 23 run out to second base.
I remember a Nolan Ryan start. I remember when pitchers used to go like 5-6 innings in an All-Star Game, right? And where players would play almost the entire game. I remember Nolan Ryan mowing down National Leaguers, although the American League didn't win that game because the National League won like 23 out of 24 in the 70s and 80s. And I remember Dave Parker stealing Lee Mazzilli's All-Star Game MVP award in 1979. Mazzilli homered to tie the game, drew a bases-loaded walk from Jim Kern of the Rangers to force in the go-ahead run, had the tying and winning runs batted in, and Dave Parker was the MVP. I'm still mad.
Yeah, sounds like it. Was he wearing the hat with the stripe on it?
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He was the pillbox hat. Gosh, those were amazing. Those are the uniforms we need. All right, Elliot Johnson. Willie Mays passed away a few weeks ago. ESPN is actually putting out a commemorative issue of the ESPN, the magazine, all about Willie Mays. When you heard that he had passed, what did you think about?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, of course, is how many times have you watched the black and white video of him catching the ball over the shoulder,
right?
And throwing the ball in and falling over. So I think that was the big play. I can't tell you how many times in the yard we would work on the Willie Mays catch. Me and my brothers, my dad, whatever it was. So the first thing you think of, and really for as good as he and great as he was, he's almost underappreciated, if that makes sense. You could almost say the same thing for Aaron. The two guys were, should be somewhere on everyone's Mount Rushmore probably. And I don't know if they get the type of credit and respect that they probably should have, but great player, deserves all the credit in the world. And I'm sure you have a special place in your heart because he wore the Mets uniform for a little while.
At the very end, yes, he did. The last 2 years, he was a shell of himself, but he did hit a game-winning home run in his first game back with the Mets after they acquired him. I think it was in 1972, and then was part of the Mets team that was one game away from beating I guess that was a dynasty for the Oakland A's. They won 3 straight World Series and lost in the American League Championship Series the year before and the year after their 3 straight World Series run. But yeah, like Lee Mazzilli, second time Lee Mazzilli gets mentioned in this program, who was the center fielder for the Mets in the mid-'70s, used to basket catch in center field like Willie Mays did. Willie Mays basket catch where he would catch underhand for a fly ball. And Mazzilli did it. And I never really found out. I was just a kid. Did Mazzilli do it because of Mays? Probably. Kid grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm sure his parents were Giants fans back in the day. And I used to do that as a kid, too, because I was a huge Mazzilli fan. I didn't realize that it was Willie Mays until I got a little bit older. But, yes, Mays was a legend in New York, even though he spent his career almost entirely in San Francisco. All right, two things before we have to get out of here and talk actual baseball. The Braves and the Yankees, to different extents, are going through it. Since the Braves' start of, I guess they were 26-13, they're under 500 in their last 50 games, 24-26. The Yankees have lost 15 of their last 20 games. They're both in playoff position. But are they both in trouble? Your thoughts?
It's July. I don't think you're going to just coast no matter what. I'd say the Yankees are interesting because they're so top-heavy. I think they're one injury away from not being competitive, because if Aaron Judge or Soto get hurt, I mean, forget it. Because both of those guys are just, they're two of the best players in the game, and so they're really top-heavy offensively. Gill had been good to start. He's been really good, of course. Stroman's been good. Getting Garrett Cole back is really helpful. So we'll see how they perform overall. But the Yankees are really top-heavy. So if Judge gets injured, if he gets hit by a pitch, or Soto, and they miss extended period of time, they could probably miss the playoffs. The Braves are interesting in that, you look at their lineup. They just grabbed Eddie Rosario again. We'll see out. But Kelenick's been good. He was a disaster in spring training, and he's been really good. He's got 10 home runs. So if he finishes with 20, I think that's a positive. Olsen, of course, is great. Riley's great. Albies is healthy. So it's just kind of interesting to see that the Braves outfield is just a little bit different than what you typically expect. I don't think Laureano's the answer. But they'll probably upgrade in some way, shape, or form in their outfield. D'Arnaud is good. Murphy's good. So we'll see if Fried can stay healthy. And Sale has been outstanding, absolutely outstanding. So, I think that you win a World Series as a GM, you kind of have Teflon on you. And Anthopoulos had that after 21. But I think he is starting to feel a little bit of pressure, because I don't think they're as deep as they probably thought they were. So let's see what he does come deadline time.
Jared Kelenic, do you know what farm system he came from?
Seattle. Oh, no. He was the Mets, and then he was the big piece in the Cano deal. So he was a Mets guy, went to Seattle, didn't materialize the way that they had hoped, and then got shipped over to Atlanta.
The Cano Edwin Diaz deal. So Mets shed the Cano contract, took on Edwin Diaz, who stunk year one, was amazing, then got hurt in the World Baseball Classic, and has been kind of, he went through a rough patch, but I think he's come out on the other side. Real quick, we haven't mentioned the Mets, other than I have mentioned Lee Mazzilli twice. They're an interesting team with their catcher, Francisco Alvarez. They're like 26-4 when he's in the starting lineup. It is an insane number. Actually, it's less now because they're basically 500 over the last week. But their winning percentage when he starts behind the plate is insane. What do you make of something like that?
Well, I think that it says a couple of different things. One, he's great defensively. Two, he's helpful offensively, but you can't run him out there every single day unless you're going to crush him. You say that Salvador Perez caught every single game. I think Buster Posey did for a while there, but it kind of ruins their body. So I think they're probably taking the long view, especially with this year. I think they pretty much made their minds up that they're not playing for the win this year, Adam.
Good.
I think that they're trying to play for 25. I think that was pretty clear how the offseason went down this last year. So if they're playing for 25, it makes more sense to rest them. And then if they are in a position to compete, like right now, the Phillies are really good. And of course, the Braves are right there. So the Mets are kind of in this little quagmire. The Nationals are going to come on strong too. So be prepared for them. They've got a really good amount of prospects that are coming up through the system that they've been able to harvest through the draft and in that Soto deal. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But I think that if you have a really good hitting catcher that is good defensively too, they're unicorns, Adam. Mm-hmm. So if you find that Buster Posey, that Yadi Molina, That's one of the hardest positions to find. If you can run them out there every single day, it is a huge thing because most teams either have a really good hitting catcher that can't catch or a really good defensive catcher that can't hit. If you can find a guy that can do both, you're doing something.
Travis d'Arnaud of the Braves, who was with the Mets, they got him from Toronto in a trade a long time ago. He was supposed to be a great hitting catcher, not very good behind the plate. He wasn't either for the Mets, has turned into a very good hitter, although maybe not this year, hasn't had a great year this year, but still a very good hitter for the Braves, clutch hitter for the Braves, and his defense is not awful. So he's sort of figured it out along the way, but Alvarez is dynamite. As are you, Elliot Johnson, my friend. Appreciate your time, sir. We'll do it again soon.
Pleasure as always, Adam.
You got it. Elliot Johnson here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, we'll come back. We're going to rewind. We'll reset some things. You'll never guess where ESPN's power rankings have the Carolina Hurricanes. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And even as the playoffs wind down in basketball and hockey, there's still stuff worth wagering on if you are so inclined. And FanDuel wants to give you incentive to just keep a little skin in the game. Open up the app and enjoy all summer long. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There is something for everyone every day all summer long. Go to FanDuel.com/AGS, FanDuel.com/AGS, and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Must be 21 or older and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Avant Articulated Loaders for the right equipment to help get your work done. Avant makes the most multifunctional loaders in the world. Whether you're a landscaping pro or homeowner serious about property maintenance, you need an Avant loader. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized Avant dealer for sales, service, part, and rentals. Visit one of our 7 locations or actce.com for more details about Avant Articulated Loaders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
If you or a loved one have been a victim of crime, the North Carolina Department of Public Safety Office of Victim Compensation Services provides programs to help you find peace of mind. They are here to help you apply for benefits that you may qualify for to recover from hardships such as lost wages and medical expenses. To learn more, visit ncdps.gov/4victims. That's ncdps.gov/4victims.
Turning 65 soon, navigating Medicare can be overwhelming and confusing, but you're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help. SHIP counselors can help you understand Medicare benefits to make your best choices. Visit ncship.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
From the mountains to the coast, 2.5 million North Carolinians are members of an electric cooperative. Every day, this network of 26 electric co-ops is working together with local members like you to power a brighter future through innovative energy technologies, community support, and enhanced grid reliability. Learn more about our brighter future vision at ncelectriccooperatives.com. North Carolina's electric cooperatives, powering a brighter future.
This is Adam Gold.
I got news for you. If I see a hammerhead shark swimming near me in open water,
nope,
we're gone.
Bye.
We're done. I'll be on the dock.
I'm done. I've seen Jaws. You can't fool me.
Yeah, I'll be on the dock.
Yeah.
I'll just be, or in the boat or something. I will not be.
Yeah.
I will not be in open water.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's here. A week from today, actually a week from tomorrow, the show will originate from, was it a week from tomorrow? 2 weeks from tomorrow. I don't even know what week it is. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we will be in Charlotte for ACC football kickoff. The Big 12 did theirs, or is having theirs, starting today. Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12, has declared that league and their media day sponsored by Totino's Pizza Rolls.
Yes.
Clearly one of the established top 3 conferences in college sports. And I'm just going to offer this, and this is no disrespect at all to Totino's and the Pizza Rolls, which, honestly, I think hold a place in everybody's heart.
Of course.
If that's your sponsor, you are clearly not a top 3 football league.
Yeah. Is ramen going to do it next? That would be a great. I want to see the mascots of having pizza rolls and the little ramen block just like.
Let's run through this real quick. What would be a good equivalent to the Totino's Pizza Roll? Would it be the Stouffer's French bread pizza?
Oh, that's too fancy.
That was lethal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Those little submarines, yeah.
Lethal.
Yep.
I mean, it weren't bad. You just had to wait. You had to be patient.
And it went a long time.
You needed to give it a good 10 minutes.
Yeah.
After it came out of the toaster oven.
Maybe cut the edges, put it in the fridge for a second so you didn't have to.
Submerge it in ice. Just for a few minutes. To let it be, so it wasn't a hazard.
Yeah.
But what would be a good, I don't know, man. What were those? What were those?
Does it have to be pizza?
No, it could be anything.
Oh, I would think ramen. Like that my immediate thought as a broke college student. Everyone lived off that. Now, whether it was the block one that came in the package or that
would be the Cup of Noodles ACC media kickoff.
Right.
That's what it should be.
Oh, they need to get on this. It's amazing.
Like every year, and I don't know what they're going to have planned for Charlotte in 2 weeks, but every year, Chick-fil-A is running through chicken sandwiches or biscuits or something.
Yeah.
Totino's Pizza Rolls.
Here's some pizza rolls. Now, is it the combination?
I'm knocking it.
Is it the pepperoni? Is it just cheese? Because there's a difference.
I'm not knocking it. All right, so I teased before. It just
now
popped
I'm
into
hungry.
my head. I am too. So, ESPN put out, this is like yesterday, I think I saw it, their way too early NHL power rankings. And I thought, wow, I'm going to check it out just because we've talked about where the Hurricanes are different than they were a year ago. I know people know this, but you might not be completely up to date with the ins and outs. You know, Jake Gensel, Teuvo Teravainen, Steph Nason, Brady Shea, Brett Pesce, all gone. Those that are, Jordan Martinook was re-signed, Jalen Chatfield was re-signed. Everything else that Carolina brought in, they brought back Shane Gostisbehere, Sean Walker, good defensive pairing. But they're not as good. On paper, they're not as good today as they were, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, back when they acquired Jake Gensel in a trade. So I expected Carolina to be ranked, kind of in the upper part of the middle of the league. Inside the playoff group, but, not comfortably inside the playoff group. So I scrolled down, not surprised. Florida 1, Edmonton 2. Okay, they just played for the Stanley Cup. Teams are, or not teams, we are incapable as a media for forgetting what we just saw. That's not necessarily right or wrong, but we are incapable of going, you know what? I know they just won it this year, but I don't think they're going to be as good as last year. Now, there's no reason to think that with Florida since they bring back almost all of the important players. They do miss Brandon Montour on the back end, and they'll miss Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and they'll miss Vladimir Tarasenko, who all left. But they went Florida, Edmonton, 1-2, Dallas 3. Dallas was in the conference finals. Rangers 4, conference finals. Colorado 5. All know how great Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, Cale Makar are. Carolina 6. I went, well, that's a little higher than I expected.
I know.
That's a little higher than I expected.
We
So
look a little different now.
cool. And first thing I thought of was, I don't put a lot of stock in it, and I don't, because these things don't really matter. And we'll have to wait to see what everything looks like on the ice. Hey, you could put together, would anybody be that surprised if Florida struggled or if Edmonton struggled? I got news for you. Edmonton might have goaltending problems.
Might.
They might.
Mm-hmm.
Florida, I know they've just done this two years in a row. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years ago, and they won it this year. So that's a lot of hockey.
It is.
I wouldn't be shocked if Florida got off to a slow start.
Yeah.
Right? I don't doubt how good they are, but I wouldn't be completely shocked if they got off to a slow start.
Some people had months off.
So we just don't know, right? But I thought that Carolina would be in the 12, 13, 14 range because that's how I see them. I see them, probably, they could finish third in the East. The Rangers and the Devils, I think, probably are the two best teams in the Metropolitan Division. And I think Carolina is probably in the same general area, maybe better, maybe worse than teams like the, Penguins, Islanders. Hey, Philly had a good year last year, but I don't know how much of that was just having a good start. They did fall apart, right? I think Carolina is probably in the middle of the Metro, maybe the top of the middle, but the middle. But in the Atlantic, you've got Tampa, you've got Florida. I don't think Boston's great. Boston was 7 behind Carolina on this ranking. I was shocked. I actually, when I saw Boston, I stopped scrolling. Not that I was protesting or anything. I just stopped. So I don't know who the other teams are. But you've got teams like Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo that are trying to get better, that think they're better. It'll be interesting to see if any of those teams actually do break through. You still have Toronto.
Yeah.
Right? I was surprised that Toronto wasn't ahead of Carolina based on all their firepower. Mm-hmm. Anyway, for all I know, Florida's 8th. But I'm not that surprised. But here's what it speaks to for me, is that the Hurricanes have established an identity, a brand, and are almost like when I first started voting, and this goes back a while, I used to be an Associated Press college football voter, where I would vote in the top 25 each week. And I remember when they asked, you have to, for a preseason top 25, I'm like, well, how do you rank teams in the preseason that haven't played? And I thought, okay, I'll do this. There were some obvious teams that are always good at the top, and we'll do that. I'm like, well, don't I have to vote for Notre Dame at some point? Don't I have to vote? At that point, Nebraska was still good occasionally. Now they're not. Don't I have to vote for them? And that's how I did it. The preseason, well, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? So I think I'm contractually obligated to put Notre Dame at 22.
Makes sense.
Right? Or Nebraska at whatever it was. But in some ways, that's how the Hurricanes have evolved. And whether they are the sixth best team in the NHL going into, later in the summer into training camp or not, and I don't think they are. It's interesting to me how the outside perceives Carolina. And it speaks to their level of success over the last several years. Yes, 6 straight years making the playoffs, and then making the playoffs at the top of the playoff pool, which is essentially where they've been the last 4 years. Those are different. And that level of success it's noticeable in how it's perceived. The head coach knows what he's doing. Rod Brindamore's preferred playing style will win games. And he will win games even if Carolina doesn't have an elite level roster, because it's hard to play an 82-game schedule. But it's a little bit easier if your style is the way Carolina does it. So while I think they'll have some offensive challenges, maybe the power play won't quite be as good as it was a year ago. Maybe the penalty kill won't be quite as good as it was a year ago. You are missing three pretty big penalty killers in Pesce, Shea, and Teravainen, right? I still think Carolina will be good. How good remains to be seen. How good probably depends on whether or not Martin Necas is here, where his head's at if he is here, who's here if he's not, what is Andrei Svechnikov. But I found that to be fascinating, and it really is more about how great Rod Brindamore is as a coach and how steady the organization has been. They will take a step back. It just remains to be seen how far. Clearly, ESPN doesn't feel like it's going to be very far.
Yeah.
And that is awesome.
I hope they're right.
I hope they're right, too. All right, let's do a quick rewind. A birdie appreciated the interview with Andrew Brandt earlier. So thanks to that birdie. Let's call him a Cardinal.
I like it. Yeah.
We'll call him a Cardinal.
It is our state bird,
Is it really?
Yeah. The cardinal?
Look at that. I did not know what our state bird is. That would be a great quiz for people.
Okay, we'll just use that next time.
Every name state birds.
The North Carolina native is here for you.
There you go. The Cardinal. Anyway, Andrew Brandt, Business of Sports, former Packers executive, currently writes for SI, the Sunday 7 newsletter. You should check that out. We had him on to talk about the NFL's loss in court. Sunday Ticket was viewed to be in a violation of antitrust law, which is a violation of, there was anti-competitive practices. When it was revealed in court that the NFL conspired with the networks to keep the price of Sunday Ticket high. And to me, it goes back to an article I read, this might be 15 years ago, in explaining why it was not available everywhere. Like, why isn't Sunday Ticket available to me as a cable subscriber or to anybody else? However you got television into your home, a lot of it was cable. Some of it was just over the air. Some of it was satellite, and there were different satellite providers. You had DirecTV, you had Dish Network, regardless. This is before all of the streamers, right? Before the YouTube, the Hulus, all of that. Like, why couldn't we also get the Sunday Ticket? Well, it's because the NFL made a deal with the networks to artificially limit who could get it to protect those networks. And to me, that's the root of it, and we talked about it with Andrew Brandt.
Yeah, this is a lawsuit that ended up with a jury verdict, as you said, of $4.7 billion. According to antitrust law, for people who don't know, these verdicts are tripled.
Mm-hmm.
So the total damages would be, if this ever goes through, would be over $14 billion. We're a long way from that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But the gist of this is the NFL conspired with CBS, ESPN, Fox, NBC to keep the out-of-market price premium so high that it is a conspiracy and against antitrust law, and it's not a competitive price. Antitrust requires competition. So there's smoking gun memos in this trial. One was from a couple of the networks saying we need to keep these prices really high so it doesn't denigrate our product. The other was allegedly from ESPN that said, hey, we could offer Packers games or Carolina Panthers games or Lions games or Cowboys games for $60, $70, but the NFL said no.
Right.
So all these things led to a verdict, which basically said the NFL violated antitrust law. The NFL says, hey, wait a minute. We have an exemption. In 1961, the NFL got an antitrust exemption to sell their media rights collectively, not individually, collectively.
Right.
And they've done that. So every game you watch, every listener listening, every game you watch is a national game. There are no local broadcasts. Now, you may only get a few games, but they're national games. So the NFL said that should apply to out-of-market games. The jury said no. Now, here's the thing, Adam.
Yeah.
The NFL's got a long way to go. They will appeal directly to this verdict, to this judge, who showed a proclivity for their side during trial, even though the jury decided otherwise, on July 31st. They'll ask to reduce the award or set aside the whole verdict and dismiss it. If unsuccessful there, they'll appeal to the Ninth Circuit. That could take months, if not a year. If unsuccessful there, they could appeal to the Supreme Court. That could take years. So I wouldn't count on any money if you're a plaintiff right now for a long time.
Yeah, well, you're probably not going to see money, but you never know. Who knows how long it would take, and maybe the $30 a year for 10 years will be worth it.
Maybe.
When, as a little retirement addendum. I don't know. Obviously, that's all being facetious. I don't know how this is going to play out. The NFL, as Andrew has said, not only with us, but he has said before, in most cases, if the NFL was worried, they would settle. They have settled lawsuits before. They settled the concussion lawsuit. Remember the concussion lawsuit? They settled that. Pennies on the dollar, but they settled it because they were worried that they would lose in court. They're not worried about this. Whether they should be or not, don't know. It does spill over into this, and we talked about this with Andrew, and this is available in the Best of the Adam Gold Show. You can check it out online, on YouTube. Go to the Adam Gold Show, or in the normal podcast. A jury awarded the verdict. A jury found the NFL liable. A jury put forth the amount, $4.7 billion, which is, as he said, trebled, meaning it's $14.1 billion that the NFL will owe. But, and the people, in general, people have sided with management when it comes to sports, athletes versus teams. In general, people have sided with teams. It is the absolute opposite here, that people, a jury, has sided with, I guess, themselves. Maybe that's different. We view players differently than we view ourselves. But we ended up talking a little bit about labor issues between the players and the owners, and how, in general, football fans side with management, which makes no logical sense to me. None. But that's okay. There are a lot of things in this world that don't make great sense to me. Victoria, the Copa America and the Euros return today.
Oh, I know you're excited.
France and Spain in the first semifinal today. England and Netherlands tomorrow. Argentina, Canada tonight. I think France will figure out a way, even though Spain has played better throughout the European Championships. But I think we're going to see extra time there. I think Argentina coasts past Canada. And we'll see everybody tomorrow, see if I'm right. Thank you.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina